All right, here we go. We're live. Time for some more Turnabout Reminiscence. Let's keep exploring. All right, so I believe we just got done speaking to Detective Bad. So now, can we look at this some more? Let's see. Not sure. She's 13 in this one, huh? See, I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. So, did we miss something last time? Oh, the cactus. Ugh! What's the matter? I pricked myself on one of these cactus's needles. I didn't think the needles on this thing would be so sharp. Well, what did you expect? Can you imagine how bad it would be if you were hit on the head by one of these? Anyway, this cactus seems to be unrelated to our case. Do you really think so? Because I believe that this cactus sitting on this windowsill is completely related. We got a windowsill cactus! Hello, Rat Matt. Yes, 13. Glad this isn't the circus case. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, well then, I look forward to your explanation on how exactly it is related. Well, it broke the balloon. Obviously. She had a balloon and the cactus broke it. Alright. Let me go down real quick here. So was that the only thing I was missing? The cactus? Possible. So, alright, let's... Logic time. The pink piece of trash and the cactus. That's my favorite, I don't even know. The pink piece of trash and the cactus. This pink rubbery substance. I saw this in a different form earlier today. I believe this is a piece of a popped balloon. I suppose that's possible. The balloon probably got a little too close to our friend, the windowsill cactus. That would be the logical conclusion, yes. Balloon piece data, okay. And then I don't think we have enough logic. Yeah, we just have the lobby number 2 window. Okay, well we got that going for us. What else can we look at in the area that would be worth investigating? Because we've already talked to him, we've looked at the drinks container, we've looked there, can't look in the garbage. We've successfully looked through there. We've already talked to you enough, unless you want to tell us about the pit balloon piece. No, he has nothing to say about it. No. Detective Bad is not interested in that. Got it. So... let's see. We've already looked at the fire extinguisher. We already talked to the people there. Can we talk to Francisca? Okay, here we go. Notice anything? This is a pretty spacious hallway, but it's nothing compared to the ones at home. Indeed, because the house itself is a bit too spacious. They do show it in the anime, and the Von Karma house is pretty huge. However, even with this much space, there's nowhere for that scruff face to hide. Well, other than the crime scene just beyond those doors. Francisca, I believe it's much too early to draw any conclusions. It was already proven that Detective Gumshoe was in this hallway the entire time. Now all we need to do is gather more information. And to do that, I'll just have to examine everything I see here by myself. Detective Bad seems suspicious. Why, are you thinking that because his name's Tyrell Bad? Or Tyrell Bad? Kinda sounds like something else. Crime scene. We've gathered so much information, but they feel like just random fragments to me. I wonder what really happened here. Random fragments. No matter how unrelated they may seem at first, they might actually fit together somehow. I grow tired of your inner monologues. Say something! Ugh! I'm going to end up in pieces before I can piece the logic together thanks to that whip. She can read his mind. It's like the people in Great Ace Attorney. They can all read Ryunosuke. Do you have anything to say about the balloon piece? I was wondering what you think of this piece of evidence. Asking people for help is breaking the rules, Miles. As I said earlier, this is a competition, a battle of wits. You want to ask someone for an opinion, you should start with yourself. In other words, you have no real opinions about this piece of evidence, do you? Yes. We got Detective Bad's testimony. We got the Swiss roll. Do you have anything to say about that? No. She has nothing to say about the Swiss roll, sadly. And Gumshoe's bonus envelope. Handgun. Okay. Let me ask you about crime scene envelope. Miles Edgeworth, that contradiction you were talking about. I demand that you show it to me at once. Detective Gumshoe really did buy a pack of Swiss rolls for himself. That fact creates a contradiction with what I know about this case. Are you telling me that you haven't figured it out yet yourself, Francisco? Of course I figured it out. But I thought I'd let you have the glory just this once. She really doesn't like to lose, does she? Do I have to, do I have to deduce the fact that, yeah, so the Swiss rolls, let's go to the $6. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Well, funny you should mention that, but his bonus envelope, he literally had no money before this and it was only $5. So how did he buy it if it was $6? About Detective Gumshoe's finances. He said that until this morning, he didn't have even a single penny on his personage. Just how poor is that guy? If his bonus really was only $5, then he should not have been able to purchase a pack of Swiss rolls. However, facts being as they are, we found cake crumbs on the floor. Meaning Scruffy must have bought a pack somehow. Indeed, that detective should not have been able to purchase a pack, and yet he did. The question is, how? Swiss roll data updated in my organizer. Okay, Swiss roll dropped by the mysterious young girl. It's priced at 2 for $6. Investigation complete. Whoa, nice. There we go. I believe I now have a very firm grasp on what happened here. Well, I do too. All right, Francisca. Would you care to share what conclusions you've come to? Why should I do that? We're still in the middle of a competition, you know. We should be checking to see if your conclusions are wrong first, so you go ahead. Hello, hello. It's almost cute that she's going this far to ensure that she wins. Almost. Very well, but first we need to pay His Honor a visit to correct his testimony. Yep, we gotta talk to the judge again. September 10th, 5:15 p.m., District Court, Courtroom number 3. Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to test your witness testimony to see how it stands up. Do you doubt me? Am I your new suspect? In a sense, I suppose you could say that. Even you, a judge, are nothing but a common witness before a Von Karma. Silence in the courtroom! Silence, I say! Mr. New Prosecutor recommended by Manfred Von Karma and Miss Genius Prosecutor successor to Manfred Von... Whoa! You bit your tongue again, didn't you? As a defender of the law, I could never give false testimony. You could even place me under oath if you want. Very well, then. Your testimony, if you please. We're cross-examining the judge. This is a series first. What I saw at recess. During the recess, I went to the restroom. There's a window on the hallway side. In other words, I could see into the hallway. As I entered, I saw that detective buying something from the vending machine. But when I was about to exit the restroom, he had completely disappeared.
A detective that goes missing while on duty? That sounds mighty suspicious to me.
Of course it does. Your Honor, can you please try to remain calm?
Oh. I'm so used to simply listening to testimonies that I got caught up in the excitement.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to spoil your fun now. Hey, help out by giving me moral support. That's the best thing. What I saw at recess. Okay, let's... Well, I mean, we know what the problem is, but let's press. Your Honor, why exactly did you pay a visit to the restroom, if I may ask?
Oh, well, isn't it obvious? What else do you go to the restroom for? Or maybe I knew it! You suspect me of some sort of tomfoolery, don't you?
Please stay calm, Your Honor. This is going to be much harder than I anticipated. Yes, send me the energy.
I'm sorry. You're right. I need to think things through with a level head. I'm just nervous because so much has happened today with the trial. Let's see. I announced a recess and a time for us to reconvene, but having done all that, I still wasn't able to go to the restroom right away.
And why couldn't you?
Mr. Faraday had been accused, so I had paperwork to process regarding a new prosecutor. Once I had finished that, I was finally able to make a mad dash to the restroom.
At least he stayed consistent on the going to the restroom part of his testimony. The judge was just holding it the whole time he was signing those papers. There's a window on the hallway side. Your Honor, did you really go to the men's restroom?
What is the meaning of that statement?
I simply meant that perhaps you went to a restroom on a different floor.
Oh, I had to go for such a long time. It was all I could do to dash to the closest one to the courtroom.
I suppose that's only natural given his circumstances.
I ran from the courtroom through this floor's main lobby and down the hallway. Once you enter, you can see there's a window just above the urinals.
And it was through that window that you witnessed Detective Gumshoe, Your Honor?
Yes, exactly!
Your Honor, there's no need to yell. I can hear you just fine.
Oh, I guess I put a little too much into that last answer. Now then, let's continue with the testimony.
Entered, he saw that detective buying something from the vending machines. Are you sure that the person you witnessed was Detective Gumshoe, Your Honor?
Yes, I'm absolutely sure. It's hard to miss someone of his stature, even from as far away as the restroom. Besides, I can't think of anyone else with that kind of hairstyle and big beige coat.
Well, I was simply wondering if you were mistaken in what you saw.
What? Preposterous! My eyes are as sharp as can be, ready to see through lies to the truth. Although recently things do seem to be a bit fuzzier than they used to be.
Clearly his eyes are not the only things that have gone fuzzy.
But allow me to say, with all the honor and dignity of a judge, I am not mistaken in what I saw.
I was about to exit, he had completely disappeared. He disappeared, but Your Honor, didn't you just say, I saw that detective buying something from the vending machines?
Why, yes! Yes, I did! The restroom window looks over the courtyard and right into the hallway. But, just as I was about to exit, I took another look. There was no one in sight. That led to the only solution to this mystery. That detective must have gone into the crime scene lobby number 2 at that point!
So he looked into the hallway from the restroom and over the courtyard, did he? The judge is so giddy. Detective sounds mighty suspicious to me. Yeah, update the courthouse map. I hope we do, eventually. Your Honor, I ask that you please remain calm.
No. I'm perfectly calm.
You're being anything but perfectly calm. It appears that His Honor could not have been mistaken in what he saw. I suppose so, given his line of sight. However, Francisco, why do you suppose our lines of sight are so different?
If you're referring to my height, Can't you hold that whip still for just a second?
Now, about His Honor's testimony, I believe his line of sight to be an important factor. If it's that important, why don't you hurry up and tell him already? I will, but there's one thing I need to do if I'm to correct His Honor's testimony. I'm gonna need to retrace Detective Gumshoe's movements. Alright, so he sat under... Let's see. I think it's this statement we gotta present on, the detective that goes missing. And so let's see. Detective Gumshoe's... Yeah, he sat at the bench. I think his fingerprints are what we're presenting. Let's see. No? That statement right now contradicts with this piece of evidence.
Really?
Your Honor, by my account, there is absolutely no contradiction here at all.
Really? Well then, I guess we're still all right. Please continue with the testimony.
The two of them overruled me? At this rate, I will lose the truth to the darkness forever. I need to stay calm, think carefully, and find a flaw in his testimony fast. Alright, so... Let's see, he had... Is it this statement? When I was about to exit, he had completely disappeared? Maybe it's this one. Yes, okay, it was the previous statement.
What was that finger wag for, Mr. Edgeworth? And don't you know it's rude to shout objection while someone is giving testimony?
Huh. If you truly are a man of the law, then you must always be vigilant. For example, I never let an opportunity to shout objection pass me by. Miles Edgeworth, it's one thing to be passionate about your job, but this is real life. Is this real life? This is what some people may say is the pot calling the kettle black. Your Honor, I wonder if you might take a look at this for me.
What is that filth? How dare someone dirty the hallway bench like that? Who is the culprit? That party is hereby found guilty of uncleanliness!
If you must know, the uncouth bench sullier has already been placed under arrest thanks to your earlier testimony, Your Honor.
Oh? Well, that's good. But who was it?
We were able to discover something from the smudge on the bench. Namely, Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints.
Not happy with committing just murder? He had to go and dirty the courthouse too? Guilty!
Your Honor, please calm down. While it's true that the detective is the one who made the mess on the bench, we have not yet established that this action is related to the double murder.
What do you mean?
I believe that the detective bought a pack of Swiss rolls from the vending machine, and then promptly sat down on the bench to eat one. The cake crumbs and pieces of chocolate on the floor under the bench, and Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints prove my conclusions to be true.
Oh, but I still don't understand. Is this whole thing related to how I couldn't see him as I was leaving the restroom?
It is indeed. The window in the hallway was built rather high up into the wall, at around a grown adult's chest height. As evidence, I submit that Francisca herself was unable to see out of that window. She is not happy.
Oh,
I knew I shouldn't have used her height as evidence. But basically, what this means is that the area directly under the hallway window is a blind spot when the hallway is being viewed from the men's restroom.
Then?
It seems that you have made the connection. If someone were to sit on the bench under the window... Yes, even someone as large as Detective Gumshoe would effectively disappear from sight.
What?
Do you finally see, Your Honor? Your testimony has just proven that Detective Gumshoe was in the hallway the entire time.
Ah! Sorry! I didn't mean to say it with that much enthusiasm. All I wanted to do was try saying it once. Here, let me try that again. Hold it!
Is there something of value that you'd like to say?
Yes, actually, there is. I remembered something else just now. Mr. Edgeworth, please allow me to testify to the court one more time.
Even if we overruled him, he'd just keep on talking, wouldn't he? That might not be a bad thing. The more info, the better in a perfect investigation, right? That's right, keep testifying, Judge. What I saw, part 2.
I suppose it's possible that you can't see a seated person from the restroom window. However, that doesn't mean that the detective was sitting there when I looked. Anyway, I forgot to testify earlier about probably the most important detail. As I was leaving the restroom, I heard the loud bang of a gunshot.
That was the balloon popping.
How was that? That is the testimony of one who judges the crimes of others.
Your Honor, could you try to state the important facts first next time? I agree. Before you go around judging others, you should learn to judge your own words.
I'm sorry. But honestly, I thought that sound was just a noise, Papa, until just now.
Now that he mentions it, right before we restarted the trial, he did talk about that.
Oh, by the way, was there someone celebrating a birthday during the recess? I could have sworn that I heard a popper going off. Come to think of it, the other day with my grandson.
The most critical point in this argument is when did the judge look into the hallway, and whether that lines up with when the gun was actually fired. Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to clarify a few details in your testimony.
What I saw, part 2.
I suppose it's possible... Okay. In that case, you concede that you were overconfident in your last testimony?
Now, hold on there. I just said that it's possible you can't see a seated person in the restroom this time. But you know something? I don't think you know when the prints you referenced were left on that bench, do you?
Ugh.
While you have proven that it's possible the detective was sitting, I still have a problem with just when those fingerprints were left.
He's right. I have yet to prove when the fingerprints were left on the bench. While he feigns ignorance, His Honor has seen a lot of life. This judge. I mustn't underestimate him. Oh, I don't know about that. However, that doesn't mean that the detective was sitting there. As we established, you went to the restroom during the recess. However, at what point in the recess did you look into the hallway?
After I called for a recess, I handled the change of prosecutor paperwork. Maybe about 20 minutes until we reconvened. Yes, that sounds about right.
Just as I expected.
What were you expecting? And I demand to know what that all-knowing smile is for.
Your Honor, that statement you made just now is very important. I'd like for you to append it to your testimony.
All right, if you insist.
Looked into that hallway about 20 minutes before we were about to reconvene. Okay, hang on a second. Is that important, though? Because we got the balloon piece, right? That was poked by the cactus. We heard the gunshot right before the trial was about to start again. Oh, okay. Okay, I see the contradiction here because Bad said he heard it right before. The judge is now saying he heard it 20 minutes before. I mean, it's the balloon, right? But I think that's where the problem lies. Let's present.
Your Honor, I cannot allow you to make an objection.
What? Your Honor, I'm really sorry, but I cannot allow you to not allow me to make an objection.
Egads, I've been overruled.
Your Honor, there are simply too many holes in your testimony for my taste.
What do you mean by that?
You claim that you heard the gunshot during the recess, but that is simply not possible.
Huh? Mr. New Prosecutor recommended by Manfred von...
Instead of biting your tongue... I see you have no mercy for the elderly either, Francisca. Don't talk back to me, unless you want to be whipped in the back. With your height, you need a stepladder or 4 to accomplish that. A what kind of ladder?
Ahem! Mr. Edgeworth, my ears are not that far gone yet, I'll have you know. I can still hear just fine, and I heard the sound of a gunshot loud and clear with my own 2 ears.
Huh. Your Honor, I have here an interesting bit of testimony. It's from Detective Bad, and according to him, he heard the gunshot right before the trial was about to start again.
Ooh, what did you just say?
Your Honor, you just said that you heard the gunshot about 20 minutes before we were to reconvene. How do you explain this glaring contradiction?
That can't be!
Unfortunately, that is the truth.
But I heard it clear as day. Bang! The loud sound of a gunshot.
The sound of the gunshot. We keep returning to this point of contention. And that piece of evidence. I always did wonder why I found it where I did. However, now I understand what that gunshot the judge heard really was. Unfortunately, Your Honor, this is what really produced the gunshot you heard. And we come to the balloon. I found this object in the hallway earlier.
What is that pink substance?
It may not look it, but this is actually a piece of a balloon.
I see. And I suppose you would like me to accept that pink balloon into the court record?
I like the court record sound. Your Honor, I present this piece of evidence in order to overrule your testimony.
What?
Your Honor, your argument goes as follows. You saw no one in the hallway when you heard the gunshot. Now, there is no guarantee the detective was sitting on the bench at that time. Therefore, you believe he must have been at the crime scene. Defendant lobby number 2. Am I correct?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that the gunshot you heard was produced by a real gun? I think I've said enough that even you can figure the rest out on your own. Your Honor, you were fooled by the popping of this balloon into thinking it was a gunshot.
What manner of trickery is this?
That was a good effort you put forth, Miles Edgeworth. But if it was me, I'd have wrapped this thing up before the judge even testified. Care to elaborate on how one ends something before it even begins?
Well, to be honest, I did think that the sound was a bit off from a real gunshot sound, but who could have guessed that someone would pop a balloon in a place like this?
That's true. One doesn't usually think balloons in conjunction with courthouse. Right, Kay's there, she has a balloon, and she's, yeah, I'm gonna trade these coins with you. That's it. That balloon that girl was holding, it explains everything. Your Honor, if it makes you feel any better, you didn't lie once in your testimony. However, I can't really vouch for its accuracy.
Oh, no. Giving testimony could be such a difficult thing to do. What have I done? I owe Detective Gumshoe a very, very big apology. I will see to it myself that he is released.
Wait. There are still a few things I have yet to resolve about what happened in the hallway. Your Honor, I request your permission to further question Detective Gumshoe.
But why? I thought we just cleared his name.
Whether we did just now or not, I still cannot say. The only thing I can do for now is to continue in my quest for the perfect explanation. And to that end, I must resolve the remaining issues pertaining to the events that occurred in the hallway.
Very well, Bailiff. Please bring Detective Gumshoe into the courtroom.
I must fulfill my mission and find the perfect explanation to this case. All right, September 10th, District Court, courtroom number 3. Thanks for letting us cross-examine you, Judge. You were great.
What is it now? Is it time for my trial already? I've already told you a gazillion times, pal. I didn't do it.
I'll be the judge of that, Detective Gumshoe. No, you won't. I'll be the judge of that.
No. I'm the judge around here, and I'll be the judge of that. Why can't you guys be a little less judgmental? Yes, well, speaking of hasty judgments, Detective Gumshoe, I'm afraid I must apologize for an error in judgment on my part.
Your Honor, I don't believe you should apologize just yet. You have yet to prove he is completely innocent of this crime.
I guess so. What are you guys talking about?
In any case, I would like you to testify as to your actions while you were on guard duty. And please remember, you are not on trial. This is all just a part of the investigation. As such, you may still be found to be innocent. However, if you should give false testimony...
Yow!
My whip will object loud and clear. If you are found to be lying, you will be held indefinitely. Understood?
I got you, pal.
Looking back on the state of the crime scene in the judge's testimony, it's obvious that Detective Gumshoe is lying. And if I can't break his lie, then we may never get a break in this case. While I was on duty,
I came down here to the courthouse on Detective Bad's orders. As soon as I got here, he ordered me to stand guard in front of lobby number 2. From that time on, until I heard the gunshot, I was in that hallway the whole time. On my honor as a detective, I swear it wasn't me, pal.
still singing the same tired tune. In that case, I'll just have to change the melody. I know he's lying, and it's time I pull the information I need out of him. Well, he's kind of lying. Sort of, but also not. Weird. Came down here. So was it really Detective Bad who called you down here?
You bet it was, pal. I was left in charge of the precinct while everyone was out, and this call comes in. I want you down here in 1 minute flat, he said. Well, I thought this was my big chance, my first case, so I made a mad dash down here. Although I couldn't exactly get here in a minute flat.
So how long did it take you?
About 10 minutes, I guess.
And what was Detective Bad doing when you finally made it?
He was waiting for me down on the first floor in the entranceway, pal.
As soon as I got here, he ordered me to stand guard. And by he, you mean...
Detective Bad, of course. And this being my first time at this courthouse, he also walked with me up to the third floor hallway in front of the defendant lobbies.
And did you meet anyone along the way?
Well, just as we entered the hallway, we ran into Miss Yu. When he heard from Miss Yu that Mr. Faraday was not to be interrupted, that's when Detective Bad told me to stand guard in the hallway, pal.
So far, Detective Gumshoe's testimony is matching up with Detective Bad's. From that time till I was in that hallway. Okay, this one seems weird. Let's push on this. You claim to have been in that hallway the whole time. However, is it not a fact that you did something while you were in the hallway?
Of course I did something. I guarded the door to lobby number 2, pal. What else?
Very well then. And what exactly does guarding that door entail?
Well, to put it simply... I know. It's my job to stand in front of the door without moving an inch.
Oh? Detective Gumshoe, you mean to tell me that you didn't take a single step away from the door to lobby number 2? Is that really what you wish to testify to the effect of?
You got it, pal. I didn't take a single step away from that door, just like I was ordered not to.
Oh, we got you now. Put that in your testimony, please. Yeah. You're all quiet.
Well, why is everyone so quiet all of a sudden?
Because we're all in shock. And in awe of your utter stupidity.
Scruffy, if you're going to lie, at least tell us a more believable one. Youch! But I'm not lying.
I should hurry up and bring this insipid testimony to a close. And until I heard the gunshot, I didn't take a single step away from the lobby number 2 door. How about your fingerprints, buddy? I have an objection.
What is it, pal?
Detective Gumshoe, I wonder if you might recognize this from somewhere?
Hey, it's one of those things, the courthouse special Swiss rolls, right, pal?
Precisely. In that case, I suppose that you also recall the sullied hallway bench?
Hey, you know what? I think it was probably me that did that. Detective Gumshoe, you know you can't go around dirtying up the courthouse like this. You inconsiderate, slovenly pig. Yo! Eek, I promise to clean it up later, I swear.
Now then, shall we get down to business about the fact that you didn't move even a single step from in front of that door? If that really were the case, then how were you able to buy a pack of Swiss rolls? Furthermore, if you didn't move a single step from in front of that door, how did you manage to get the bench dirty with your grubby hands?
Youch!
It appears that Francisca's whip can do more damage than my words alone can.
All right, I confess, pal. I was hungry, so I bought a pack for myself, okay? I thought I'd get chewed out again if anyone found out about me eating on the job, so I didn't want to say anything. Well, unfortunately for you, I saw you do the whole dastardly deed. I clearly saw you buying a pack of Swiss rolls from the vending machine. Okay, I'm sorry for lying, but that's all I'm sorry for. You got that? Because I'm not holding anything else back.
That last statement. It may sound like it makes sense. However, there is something I don't quite believe about it. Are you sure you're not withholding further information from us?
Huh? Of course not. I've got nothing else to hide, pal.
Oh, if only that were true, Detective Gumshoe.
But it is true, pal. I swear. There's nothing else.
Detective Gumshoe, I'm sure you are aware of the price of a pack of Swiss rolls, correct?
Remind me again, pal?
That vending machine out in the hallway is selling packs of 2 Swiss rolls for $6 a pack. And yet, according to you, you didn't have any cash on you until you cashed your $5 annual bonus check. Isn't that right?
Oh.
Let me ask then, how did you manage to purchase a pack all by yourself? Can you provide me with a proper explanation to that?
Yeah, I told you. I bought it by myself, pal. There wasn't anyone else in that hallway with me, so there's no one who could have helped me buy it. Wait, don't tell me. You got some kind of proof that there was someone else in the hallway, don't you?
Correct.
As if you could. I mean, what are the chances of that?
Wait, you do? Of course I do.
What? How?
What proof do I have that there must have been someone else there in the hallway? It's the balloon piece, right?
What the heck is that? I know you didn't really have anything. You prosecutors are all the same, always lying to people. You should stop, you know.
Ugh. I refuse to be lectured by the likes of you, Detective. Miles, how long do you plan on being strung along by this moronic detective? I have no intention of falling for his lie, because there was definitely a second person. Because if he was truly alone, then that piece of evidence should not exist. Okay, it's not the balloon. Swiss roll dropped by the mysterious... Oh, it was the other Swiss roll, right? Is that it? Yeah.
Hey, you showed that to me not 2 seconds ago, pal.
I think you're under the mistaken impression that I bought this pack of rolls.
Wait, if you didn't buy it, then that means you must have stolen it. You thief!
The Swiss roll, yes. What? I would never do such a thing.
All you liars are the same. You stood out as thieves. Ha! You're under arrest, pal!
I believe you meant to assert that all thieves start out as liars. And in that case, what does that say about you, Detective?
Go!
This particular Swiss roll was dropped by a certain someone.
Oh.
There were 2 rolls in this package. You ate one of them, but you then gave the other one to a certain other person, didn't you?
No way, pal. You had it all wrong. I ate both of them.
Ha! Counter move. It would appear that we've caught you at last.
Hey, don't you dare do anything bad to that girl.
It would appear that they do know each other after all. So why do you continue to come up to me and kick me? Have I wronged you somehow?
I have a name, and it's K.
K what?
K Faraday.
Faraday? Are you perhaps Mr. Faraday's daughter?
I'm not a you, I'm K.
K? You know, good little girls don't kick other people. Especially not hard enough to leave big nasty bruises like the way you do.
Well, then you shouldn't have put Gummy under arrest, mister.
Gummy?
My guess is that she's talking about Detective Gumshoe.
What a cute nickname you've given him.
Gummy didn't do anything wrong. K?
It appears that I will need to speak with her in a bit more detail.
Rah!
So we can talk... Oh, we just kind of jumped out. We can talk to her now? Okay. Can we talk to the judge, too?
Oh, dear. Oh.
What is the matter, Your Honor?
I claim to hand down fair verdicts, but I unfairly cast suspicion on the big fella. If this had been a trial just now, I would have destroyed his life. I am the guilty one.
Oh. We all make mistakes, Your Honor. To err is human, to forgive divine, as they say. Although if you were to make a mistake during a trial, then it would be quite unforgivable. Judge would never make a mistake during a trial. Alright, let's talk to Faye. Now then, Kay. Shh! She's like a stray cat. I wonder if I should feed her something. Let's give her that Swiss roll that she never got to eat. Kay, I promise to give you this if you calm down. Oh, a Swiss roll! It really belongs to you, though, doesn't it? Yeah, I was saving it for Daddy.
Oh my!
Your father, he's...
Ah! Don't you say another word, pal! She doesn't know yet!
Thanks for watching out for me, Gummy. But I already know about Daddy. I overheard the guards talking. About how Daddy's... he's not here anymore.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't protect him.
Okay.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna... cry!
It's alright. Let it all out. Your father just passed away, after all. I myself was also involved in a case at this courthouse when I was a young child. A case in which my father, who was a defense attorney, passed away. All of my dreams of becoming a lawyer were crushed into fine ash on that nightmarish day. Even now, the wound festers deep in the depths of my soul. Ever since that incident, I've dedicated myself to locking away every criminal I can. And now, to have this happen right in front of me, this child, I feel a certain shared fate, a common bond between us.
Miles Edgeworth, what sort of gentleman are you? Are you going to just stand there and watch a lady cry?
You're right. Sorry about that. Okay, here. How about we use this handkerchief here and dry your little eyes?
Ha! No! My cravat! Don't blow your nose on that!
I feel better now, thanks. Oh no. Okay. Okay, are you going to be alright?
Yep, I'm already alright.
Somehow I highly doubt that, but I'm not going to push it.
I promised Daddy I'd never cry in front of strangers. And you're a good kid, aren't you, Kay? You always keep your promises, right?
That's right. Even if I can't see Daddy anymore, I'm still going to keep all my promises. You're a very brave girl, okay? You're a very good child for keeping the promises you made to your papa. I'll even testify that you didn't cry, just for you. Thank you very much, lady. Ha, it's nothing. I'm only telling the truth after all. It would appear that because her father was a respected prosecutor, Francisca is sympathetic to Kay's feelings. Hey, Kay, you want to look at my badge? Oh, Daddy showed this to me before. Well, he was a prosecutor too, so it's only natural that he had one as well. Daddy would pin this badge on me a lot, just for fun. Pinning a prosecutor's badge on a child for fun. Daddy said that if he put it on his clothes, a scary prosecutor would get mad. He also said that the scary prosecutor said it was more fashionable to not wear it. I wonder who that scary prosecutor could be. I wonder... Could Kay be talking about Mr. Von Karma? Of course she is. The balloon. Kay, about this. Huh? Are you giving it to me? But... I promised Eddie that I wouldn't take things from strangers. I'm sorry. It's alright. I wasn't intending to give it to you anyway. Oh, okay. Guess I thought wrong. Miles, even if you show that to her, she isn't going to magically know all about it. I suppose you're right. Well, what about your father? Hey, what kind of person was your father? Daddy was a hero of justice. His job was to catch all the bad people in the world. So to you, a prosecutor is a hero of justice, eh? I suppose we are, in a sense, as we are the ones who seek guilty verdicts for criminals. Plus, you know what? Whenever I came to the courthouse, Daddy would buy me my absolute favorite treat, Swiss rolls. Oh? I want to be a hero of justice someday, just like Daddy. So I've been working really hard. I see, and what have you been working hard on? I've been working hard to keep all the promises Daddy and I made together. A promise notebook? May I take a look inside, Kay? Sure, okay. It appears to be an exchange diary of sorts between father and daughter. Mr. Faraday's writing conveys a sense of the kind of man he was. This little notebook just might come in handy later. Alright. Thank you for showing it to me, Kay. I hope you'll continue to work hard and become a hero, just like your father. I'm gonna try.
Hey, Kay, so I'm a detective that catches the bad people, right? That makes me a hero, too.
Yeah, you're really cool too, Gummy.
Yeah, aren't I, Kay?
What is with the two of them?
I hand down verdicts of justice, so that makes me a hero, too.
Yes, and thanks to your oh-so-heroic testimony, you almost painted that detective as a vile criminal and sent him off to jail.
I'm really sorry about that.
Gummy is not a bad man, okay? That poor judge. He's being treated like a vile criminal rather than a hero of justice. It appears that you and Detective Gumshoe are good friends, Kay. Yeah, we're friends. In that case, would you mind telling me a little more about him? Actually, I want to talk about Swiss rolls first. Were you the one who bought this pack of Swiss rolls, Kay? Well, I didn't really have a lot of money, and I somehow made $1 out of all the pennies and quarters I had. But that still wasn't enough, and I really, really wanted one. Come to think of it, she did come and ask me to exchange a handful of change for $1. And that's when you came and asked me to change your money, correct? Yeah, thanks a bunch for doing that, mister. Sure. But let me ask you, even with that $1, you still didn't have enough, correct? Well, that's why...
Hey, if you bully Katie more, I'm gonna have to arrest you, pal.
Need I remind you that you're the one already under arrest?
Yow!
I sense that Kay is going to be less than forthcoming with this question. Alright, Dick Gumshoe. So I take it that you ran into Detective Gumshoe earlier? Yep. I was on my way to see Daddy when I saw Gummy standing there. He was standing in the hallway, staring really hard at the vending machine, so I said hi. And when was this? Before everything got crazy. How long were the two of you together? We only talked for a little while, and then we went on our own ways.
That's right, pal. Kay and I only talked for a little while, and that's it.
Oh, which means... We have now confirmed that Kay was in the hallway during the recess, isn't that right?
You got me!
I told you to stop picking on Gummy, mister. Very well, then. I'll just have to speak with the good detective in private later. Sorry about your roughly thing. Yes, well, now that it's positively drenched in your nasal mucus. Don't worry, Kay, I have a spare. So here, you can have this one. But Daddy said, never take things from a stranger. It's one of the promises you made in your promise notebook, correct? Yeah, look, see? It's right here on this page. Never take things from a stranger and never go anywhere with a stranger, okay? Alright then. I'm not giving this to you. I'm merely allowing you to borrow it. You can take it home, wash it nice and clean, and then give it back to me next time we meet. Okay. Daddy's never said I couldn't borrow things from strangers. I don't know. I think that's the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law there, but okay. I'm glad Edgeworth just has a spare cravat in his pocket. I mean, don't you? If not, why aren't you cravat maxing? Excuse me? Alright, anyway. Now then, Detective Gumshoe. Uh-oh. I believe it is now crystal clear that you were with little K in that hallway.
No!
I told you to stop being mean to Gummy. Miles Edgeworth, there is still something you have yet to resolve. I beg your pardon? You still haven't offered an explanation for why that man would lie to us. That's... well... Gummy, don't tell me you lied for my sake.
Hey, don't worry about it, Kay. Everything's gonna be okay.
So that's why. So what was Detective Gumshoe's motive for lying? If you can't explain that, then you can't call this a perfect investigation. His reason for lying is very simple. What? Here is what I believe to be his reason. From simple observation of the detective's actions and his interactions with Kay, it's obvious the detective was lying for the young girl's sake. And this piece of evidence will show you exactly why. Which piece of evidence proved that Detective Gumshoe was lying on account of K? Is it the balloon piece? I want to look at the promise notebook real quick, too. All right, we saw that one. Always greet people with a smile, even people you don't know. Never cry in front of strangers. Always try your hardest to learn about things you don't understand. Daddy's job is to make sure that everyone follows the rules. Okay, be a good girl and promise that you'll keep your promises to me, okay? Okay. Makes sense. I mean, the balloon piece, right? This is that piece of evidence. What are you showing me that for? It doesn't seem to add anything to the conversation.
I don't get what you're trying to say with that. Or are you just like showing it off?
Are you gonna give that to me, mister?
I don't feel that the court needs to enter that into the court record at this time. Ugh. What is wrong with everyone? Why are they all teasing me all of a sudden?
Although it's possible that perhaps I made a mistake, and that's why. Now then, back to the topic at hand. Detective Gumshoe lied for K's sake. So what? Okay, it wasn't the balloon piece. So it's not the plastic bag. Is it the Swiss roll? Is that it? I don't know, because, like, okay. I'm trying to remember, like, what did we find and where, right? So we found the Swiss roll in the hallway, right? So is it the Swiss roll? Or is it... It's not his fingerprint, and it's not Detective Bad's testimony. So... don't think it's any of that. Swiss roll dropped by the mysterious young girl. Hang on a second. Hang on. Okay, my thought. So the Swiss roll is related. I just realized something though. She just met Gumshoe today, and one of her promises is never take things from a stranger, and he technically bought her that, right? Because they had to go in together for it. And they were kind of acting weird about that. So I don't think it's the Swiss roll. I think it might be the promise notebook. Let's see. Mr. Faraday and Kay's promise notebook? How does this explain anything? If you could take a look at this page, it's clearly written that Kay should never take things from a stranger. When Detective Gumshoe heard about that promise, he tried to cover for Kay.
What a foolish fools. Fools of a foolish reason for a fool. Yow!
Gummy, you lied because of me, didn't you?
Because I'm your friend, Kay. That's why.
Oh, Gummy. At long last, Detective Gumshoe, can you please tell me the whole truth now?
Guess there's no beating you, huh, pal? Okay. I'll spill the goods. I'd been standing guard for a while. I was getting really hungry, and that snack vending machine was taunting me.
But all the cash you had on you was $5, and that wasn't enough to buy anything, right? After all, the cheapest item in that machine is a $6 pack of Swiss rolls.
Yeah, but then like an angel from heaven, Kay showed up.
I was thinking about sharing a snack with Daddy, so I wanted to buy a Swiss roll. But I only had about $1 in coins.
So we pooled my $5 and their $1 together and bought a pack of Swiss rolls together.
But I was worried about breaking one of my promises. So then Gummy said,
Mr. Faraday's one scary guy when he gets mad. But don't worry, you won't get in trouble if I don't tell, right? Besides, you bought it with me. So you didn't really get it from me, you know?
He told me it'd be okay. And he gave me a whole roll to save and give to Daddy. Who knew that Scruffy could be so considerate? Indeed. Detective, I take it that you then sat down on the bench and ate the rolls together?
Yeah, we split the other roll and ate it right then. The sweet taste of that cake's chocolate. I'll never forget it as long as I live, pal.
Anyway, Kay, I believe this also belongs to you. Oh, that's from the balloon I popped. It's bad manners to leave garbage lying around, Kay. I'm sorry. Well, I guess I can't blame you for not throwing this one piece away. It was sitting high up on a windowsill where you couldn't see it. So just this once. I forgive you. But that balloon, I wanted to surprise Gummy a little, so I popped it on purpose. And because of me, Gummy dropped his half of the Swiss roll.
Wow, you really got me there, pal.
So I thought maybe I should give Gummy this other roll. And then I saw you picking on Gummy, mister. So you kicked me, is that it? You sure are a feisty one. I'm really sorry, mister. It's alright. I'm perfectly unharmed. But about this Swiss roll, would it be alright with you if I held on to it until Detective Gumshoe was cleared of all charges and free to go? Yeah, sure. Just make sure you give it to Gummy afterwards, okay? Of course. I promise. Now then, I believe we have proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that Detective Gumshoe was in the hallway for the entire duration of his duty, which undeniably proves that Detective Gumshoe could not have committed the double murders. Actually, it proves just the opposite, Edgeworth. You've just shown that Detective Gumshoe is the only one who could have committed the crime. What do you mean? Where'd you come from? It's quite rude to eavesdrop, Miss Yu. Yeah, that's... I'm getting lectured on manners by a girl with a penchant for whipping people.
What? How dare you talk back with such insolence?
You're wrong, lady. Gummy's not the bad guy. Oh, and whatever we hear, what's a child doing here in a courthouse? Bailiff, please take this child away.
Miss Callista, that girl is Mr. Faraday's.
I know. So what? You think that just because she's the victim's daughter, she gets to just run wild all around the crime scene? I think it's actually quite dangerous for her, to speak nothing of getting underfoot. I suppose you're right, however. As long as we're in agreement on that point, let's get back to the real issue at hand. Now then, Detective, you were in front of the door to lobby number 2 the entire time, correct?
Yeah, but...
You see? Isn't it obvious that it could only be the detective? He's the only person who could have gone into lobby number 2 at the time of the murders. Ugh. I have no counter-argument to that. Don't worry. I've already put in the necessary paperwork for his formal arrest.
But the investigation is far from over.
Oh, that's right. I was going to speak with you about that. Don't you think it's reckless to talk to the suspect out in the open without a guard?
Yeah, I suppose it is.
Well, as someone with more experience in law than you, allow me to share something. Always keep a good eye on a criminal, for you may regret what comes of your negligence.
Oh, Miles, I can't believe you're letting this woman lecture you like this. This is unforgivable as a disciple of Von Karma.
Down, Tigress. Now then, I'll be looking forward to the results of your investigation. Oh, you nasty lady. So, we're back to square one. Actually, this is our last chance. I can tell that if we fail to solve this case, Detective Gumshoe will be formally charged under all of the circumstantial evidence. This investigation is not over yet. There's still one location we have yet to inspect. It's where Detective Bad and Miss Yu were at the time of the crime. Lobby number 1. Yeah, that's a good place to look at, too. We got a to be continued, but we're just going to continue right away. There's no waiting here. We're going at it. We're going to do this, for real. All right. September 10th, 5:45 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 1. Looks remarkably like the other one.
What is this incredibly overpowering sweet scent?
It smells like flowers. Uncle Bad, is this it? Oh, isn't that Detective Bad and Kay over there? It looks like she managed to escape the bailiff.
No, that's not quite it.
Oh, too bad, but it's so pretty.
I think you're still a bit too young to be wearing that. But since you found it, I guess I can let you keep it.
Thanks, I'll treasure it always. Those two seem to get along rather well.
No, here. I've got something else for you.
Yay, thank you, Uncle Bad. He bought her some Swiss rolls. Earlier, I ate one of these with Gummy.
Gummy. Oh, you mean gumshoe?
And he was trying to be nice to me because I was going to get in trouble. And then he got in trouble because he lied to protect me. Gummy, I know he didn't kill Daddy.
Don't cry. Faraday would be sad if he saw you crying.
I'm not crying. Okay. Oh, it's the mister from before and the lady, too. Don't you think it would be a good idea to go home for the time being? You're not involved in the investigation, so it's for the best if you do. Actually, I'm Uncle Bad's assistant. So I'm related to the investigation. Is that so, Detective Bad?
Yeah, I guess.
What? You were just scolding us like two kids to not mess up the crime scene. And now you let this child run free? Why?
People are free to investigate things outside of the actual crime scene. You also had a few things you wanted to look into. Got a problem with that?
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. I am curious as to what Miss Yu is looking into. Uncle Bad, I'm gonna go look somewhere else now, okay?
All right. I'm counting on you.
Oh, that's right. Hey, mister. Yes? What is it? I know Gummy really isn't the bad guy. I mean it. So please, find the real bad guy, okay? I won't forgive whoever did this. Is Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, yes.
With great power must also come great responsibility.
But in the absence of the perfect piece of testimony and evidence, there is no one else who could be the true culprit other than Detective Gumshoe. She wandered off while I was pondering. Oh no. I hate when people wander off while I'm pondering. One of the windows in this lobby is open as well. The air conditioner is working just fine in this room, so why did they open it, I wonder? Yeah. That expensive painting is ill-suited to be hanging on the wall of this room. I wonder if a guard detail should be placed on it. Why do you say that? Well, the desperate, low-paid detective might make off with it someday. You never know. She may be thinking about hiring a guard, but it's obvious she isn't factoring in that guard's salary whatsoever. Yeah. This decorative plant's leaves are shinier than the ones on the plant in lobby number 2. That's probably because it's next to the windows where it's easier to photosynthesize. You may be right. Plus, the curtains are always drawn in lobby number 2. The caretakers of this courthouse don't think enough about the plants, do they? That's because they're the courthouse's caretakers, not a bunch of botanists. No botanists. I can see down into the courthouse courtyard from here. What is that mess supposed to be? It's like an optical illusion. I believe it's supposed to be postmodern in design. More like thoughtlessness in design. I can't disagree there. What we got? This television is the same model as the one in defendant lobby number 2. Looks like the two rooms are basically the same in terms of layout and supplies. Yes. The two rooms are basically the same, huh? Basically the same. That is an interesting statement. It may not look like much, but I find that ordinary tables like this one are very useful. I think it's time they bought a new one. I wonder if they will replace this table if I hit it enough with my whip. A much too heavy-handed method if I ever saw one. Basically the same means they weren't the same. Yup, almost the same means it's not the same. This table may not look like much. In fact, it appears blank. We can go outside. Is there any reason to? We can go in here. Oh, hey, you're over here. What do you want to say? What is it, Edgeworth? Nothing in particular, however. He says. No. You did it again! What is that supposed to be? Your mating call? Is everything I do humorous to this woman? Look, Edgeworth, I'm incredibly busy right now. I've got a mountain of things to figure out and check up on. If you want to talk, you're just gonna have to wait until later, okay? I'll just continue with my investigation then. Yeah, Edgeworth's mating call. He is... I don't think he's terribly interested in such things. Not bringing all the ladies to the yard. So... Wow, they give us, like, free reign here. This is kind of crazy. There's Kay. Oh, sorry, mister. I'm a little busy right now. Doing what? Well, I'm looking for something. Uncle Bad told me to. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's go. I don't want to interfere with the girl. Lest Detective Bad get angry. Yes, agreed. What's this? Miles Edgeworth. Yes? Oh, we already said this. There's a bunch of... There's not a bunch of bulletins on the bulletin board. Because there's not a lot of crime, apparently. I'll start my discipline regimen. Yes. You'll even put a tracking device on him someday. I remember that plot point. Hey, that's the Thinker. It's a bookshelf. What's this? Judge's Trial Exchange Log. Oh yeah, we've already seen this. They're their thoughts and ideas. The real daily lives of the judges. Just page after page of unrelated drivel. Yeah, the menu. The fried oysters. Alright, let's go back to defendant lobby number 1 and talk about the coffee. Or the tea, sorry. What an incredibly strong scented herbal tea. I fear that more than being relaxing, this scent may make one a bit heady instead.
You put in a special request for that.
No wonder she's so violent if she's been drinking this stuff the whole time. Neither woman should be allowed to comment on this particular topic ever. Yeah, don't lecture us about violence, lady. Can we talk to Bad now? Detective Bad, what exactly was Kay searching for?
Nothing that concerns you, boy.
Oh, and I suppose it has something to do with Kay?
It does, because she's Faraday's daughter. Anyway, hurry up and get to the point. I don't have time to waste.
Sounds like he'd rather be left alone. I have something I'd like to confirm with you once again.
I don't have anything to say to you.
Be that as it may, we still have questions that we need answers to. Now then, first of all, what is the overpowering smell that is permeating this room? Upon entering this room, I thought I was going to suffocate.
It's that ultra-strong perfume you wears. She spilled some of it. I was having a bad time of it myself. I didn't think twice and opened the window. That smell's still here.
Perfume, huh? The sweet scent in the air is perfume. Well, it's giving off quite a stench. I bet it's some cheap no-name brand.
She said it's a famous brand from overseas.
It's a knockoff. Yes, definitely a knockoff.
No disrespect, but she forced one of those bottles on me. Here, little girl, you can have it.
I was born for a much more expensive and refined perfume. However, seeing as how you just happen to have a spare, I suppose I'll take it. Miles Edgeworth, you will hold on to this bottle without fail. Why can't she ever be honest about her wants? She's very, what is it, in anime, was it tsundere, I think, about the perfume? It's not like I want this perfume or anything. Perfume given to Bad by you. Okay. So now we have the perfume Miss You wears. Just fantastic.
Is that all you wanted to talk about? If so, I'm going back to investigating.
Actually, I still have a few other things I wish to inquire about. During the recess. So you were in this room the entire recess?
Like I said, I made a call to the precinct to get that big lug down here. But other than that, I was waiting for the recess to end in here.
At least your story is consistent. Earlier, you stated that you were in this lobby with Miss Yu.
Yeah, I ran into her in the hallway. She said she wanted to talk to me about something, so we came in here.
Then what you're saying is that until Detective Gumshoe's arrival, you and Miss Yu were in two different locations?
Guess I am.
Interesting. Speaking of that lawyer, she seems to have a great dislike for you. Let's see, Miss Yu is the sister of the victim of the KG-8 incident. And as I recall, Detective Bad was the lead detective on that case. I wonder if the reason for her disdain isn't simply because you failed to guard Cece, but because you were the lead detective on the case.
You knew?
We also knew that today's trial involving the Cadopian Embassy staff member is being referred to as the second KG-8 incident. Now then, Detective, I believe it's time you were honest with me and told me the truth behind your relationship with Miss Yu and Mr. Faraday and the KG-8 incident.
If you already know that much, I guess it'd be alright to tell you.
KG-8 incident. Now then, I'd like to ask you a few questions about the KG-8 incident.
It's not exactly a happy story. Other than the people who were directly involved, you two will be the first to hear what I'm about to tell.
Ah! His cigarette is a sucker. Of course.
The honest truth behind the KG-8 incident.
Huh?
Faraday, you, and I, as you already know, we three were involved with the KG-8 incident. Faraday and I, we were originally on the trail of a smuggling ring.
You mean the smuggling case involving one of the Amano Group's secretaries?
That trial was just a front.
A facade?
Yeah, but the case became tainted. All because the witness who was going to testify about the Amano Group's ties to the smuggling ring, CCU, was killed.
Then what became of the secretary who was arrested?
His name was Colin Deveray. To be honest, the guy didn't know a thing about the smuggling ring. But he confessed to knowing about it anyway. Deveray was probably being intimidated by the big boss man. Just another scapegoat.
The boss man of the Amano Group can't seriously mean Mr. Ernest Amano. That can't be right. Probably just Detective Bad's personal hypothesis. What is he trying to do, suspecting Mr. Amano of being involved with smuggling? I suppose it wouldn't have been quite difficult to secure an acquittal after he confessed. But the man who killed CCU, Manny Cochin, was a completely different person. But since he's already been acquitted once of her murder, Mr. Faraday, how could you let him go? If I remember correctly, I heard that Mr. Faraday had an important piece of evidence stolen from him.
That wasn't Faraday's fault. It was mine. I wasn't vigilant enough. Faraday, Cece, I was supposed to protect them both.
Miss Yu did mention that as well, about how Detective Bad was supposed to guard her sister.
But even I, who was supposed to protect them, I fell into their trap.
What kind of a trap?
The holes in this jacket are a testament to that trap.
You mean you were fired upon? You were shot at that many times in one gunfight?
No. Only about half of these are from that case. But the reason I continue to wear this jacket is to remind myself of the lessons I learned from the KG-8 incident.
I see.
I couldn't protect CCU, and the suspect was found not guilty. We had hit a brick wall, as far as the law was concerned. And that's when she came to the courtroom. The victim's sister. That's when I first met Callisto Yu.
Relation to you. About when you first met Miss Yu. It was on the day The verdict of the KG8 incident was handed down, was it not?
Yes. Faraday and I, we apologized to her from the bottom of our hearts. It was all we could do, but just saying you're sorry won't bring my sister back, she said. And then she gave me a hard slap across the face.
Well, she certainly had a lot of self-control to stop at just a slap. If it was me, not even 100 lashes would have been punishment enough.
I suppose not. You said it herself, that she never wanted to see either of us ever again.
But after that, you've seen her many times over, correct?
Yeah. Faraday and I, even after the KG8 incident had come to a close, we continued to hunt down the smuggling ring and got involved in a variety of cases. But it was no use. We cracked so many different cases. But the result was always the same. We couldn't find the real mastermind behind the ring.
Is the ring really that big?
It was in the pursuit of the ring that we met you once again. It was during another trial related to the smuggling ring. Faraday was the prosecutor, and I, as the lead detective, took to the witness stand. You. She appeared out of the blue as the defense attorney.
Her client was related to the smuggling ring, and she was defending them?
Yeah. You was pursuing the ring as best she could as a lawyer. I think she defended Rel this time, for the same reason.
Come to think of it, Miss Yu did say something of the same effect. I have my own agenda. I'm still on the hunt for leads regarding the KG8 incident, alright? And for that, you have not a single qualm about defending a known killer. Don't put words in my mouth. I said no such thing. The only way I had to get close to Mr. Rel was to be his lawyer. I had no intention of covering for him, ever. So don't you dare suggest I was going to. It doesn't matter what her reason is. Helping a criminal is just despicable.
You're so naive, little girl. I could have stolen this lollipop from you.
That's how naive you are. How dare you insult the daughter of Avant Karma?
Just like us, you felt that she had hit the limit of what the law could do. That's all.
The law is merely a tool. There is no limit to it. Only the skill of the craftsman.
You two are still too young. But one day you'll know what I mean. But enough sidetracking. What matters is that we met you again, in pursuit of the smuggling ring. That's all.
Okay, relation to Faraday. So what was your relation to Mr. Faraday? You even seem to know Kay fairly well.
I met him when he was a rookie prosecutor. Known him ever since. And Kay, I've known her since the day she was born. Faraday and I, we cracked quite a few cases together.
But you two seem to have made no progress at all in the Yatagarasu case. Did we touch a nerve?
I only have one thing to say to you. No one knew more about the Yatagarasu than me and Faraday. That's why I was called upon to testify in today's trial, to prove that Rel was not the real Yatagarasu, which I would have done if he hadn't turned around and accused Faraday. After the accusation, I was asked to testify, but this time to prove or disprove the accusation. But I guess I won't be doing that either.
I sense that there's more to that statement than meets the eye. Perhaps a bit more digging into the Yatagarasu is what's necessary. Yatagarasu. You claim to know much about the Yatagarasu, but would you care to share what you know with me?
What you two should be looking for right now is proof of murderous intent towards Faraday and Rel.
I agree, which is exactly why I'm asking you about the Yatagarasu.
What?
The KG-8 incident and this second KG-8 incident. Both of these cases are tied to the smuggling ring. In both of these cases, the witness who was to testify about the ring was murdered. However, there is one point in which they may differ. And that is the presence or absence of the great thief Yatagarasu. Mr. Rell claimed to be the Yatagarasu. However, in the middle of the trial, he suddenly declared Mr. Faraday to be the real Yatagarasu. Then, during the recess, they were both killed. Don't you find that to be the least bit odd? Miles Edgeworth, stop beating around the bush and just spit it out already! I believe that there must be some reason that the two men suspected of being the Yatagarasu were both killed at the same time.
The reason, huh?
And so, in order to catch Mr. Faraday's and Mr. Rell's cold-blooded killer, I feel that I need to learn as much as I can about the Yatagarasu.
It will help you solve this case.
Then I'll tell you. I'll tell you the reason why we've never caught the Yatagarasu.
What was that sudden outburst for? You almost made me whip you by accident.
No!
Still accidentally whipped me anyway.
There are three main reasons why the Yatagarasu will always be one step ahead. First, the Yatagarasu always knows the exact location of the target object. Second, the Yatagarasu always knows exactly how to disarm the security system. Third, the Yatagarasu doesn't leave a single shred of evidence behind. Ever.
I see. So those are the Yatagarasu's special traits? Sounds like an incredibly elusive thief.
The Yatagarasu has never been caught on tape, never tries to draw anyone's attention,
and would never do something as lowbrow as commit murder.
That's how I knew that Rel wasn't the real Yatagarasu right away.
But you can't use that sort of logic on its own to prove that he wasn't.
Listen, little girl. I'm not done talking yet. What's different about this time was that evidence related to the smuggling ring was sent to the police, and the sender was none other than the one who infiltrated the Cadopian embassy, the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu sent the evidence?
Until now, the Yatagarasu would always publicize any corrupt dealings through the mass media. But not this time. The evidence this time was something only Faraday and I, and a select few others knew about.
In that case, how can you be so sure that it was the Yatagarasu who sent it?
That's easy. A special card that only the Yatagarasu uses was attached. That's how I can be so sure.
And just what sort of card is it?
Here, take a look at this article. Whenever the Yatagarasu wants to publicize something, a white card is sent along with the stolen information. But when we questioned Rel about what was sent along with the white card, Rel had no idea what it was.
Ah, and that's how Detective Bad knew that Mr. Rel was a phony. Thank you very much. I have a much better understanding of the Yatagarasu now.
Huh.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes? His Honor would like to transfer the evidence from today's trial over to you. So if you could please head over to the courtroom, it'd be much appreciated, sir. Understood. I'll be there shortly. Detective Bad, what does the law mean to you?
Finding the answer to that question is the only reason I'm still alive.
I became a prosecutor to find the answer to that question myself, and to play a part in ensuring that all criminals everywhere are found guilty. September 10th, District Court, Courtroom Number 3.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh.
It appears that His Honor is still a bit dispirited.
For the first time today, I experienced what it's like to stand at the witness stand. Oh, I now have a greater appreciation for just how hard it is to give testimony.
Well, there's no reason for you to be all depressed about it, Your Honor. As a judge, No one expects you to think about anything other than the verdict. Francisco, there is no need to further depress his honor. But I'm not trying to, Miles. Your Honor. Your Honor, I've come to collect the evidence that was to be transferred to me. Your Honor, the evidence?
Your Honor? Oh! Yes. Can I help you?
I'd like to collect the evidence now, sir. Your Honor, do you think you can stay focused long enough to at least do your job?
Yes, I'm sorry. And I would, except that the defense attorney is yet to arrive.
She is busy with the investigation. So let's keep this brief, shall we?
Very well. In that case, please confirm that all the pieces of evidence are present. Furthermore, the evidence that was used in the murders of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell are also included, so please go ahead and use them in your investigation into their case.
Understood, Your Honor. The pieces of evidence that were used in the murder of those two men. This could be a very good chance for me to find new leads regarding their case. And maybe even something that will finally lead me to the truth.
I've placed all the evidence over at the prosecutor's bench for you.
I see. Thank you very much. I will go and confirm that they're all accounted for. Let's go check. That's the defense's stuff? Evidence that Miss Yu prepared is just sitting here on this table. You know you can't just walk off with it, right? Of course I do. Miss Yu must have been caught off guard by her client's sudden accusation. I wonder how she would have defended Mr. Rell in that case if he was still alive. Let's look at our stuff. So this is the evidence related to today's Cadopian Embassy trial for Mr. Faraday's bag. You mean the evidence bag that was on the table in lobby number 2, right? Yes. Finally, we can now take a look at the evidence itself and not just data about them. Let's be sure to thoroughly examine them while we have the time. Agreed. I want to take a good look at all the evidence from the embassy murder, too. And why is that? Because I still don't fully understand what today's trial was about. Gah! Don't point your crop at me just because you don't know something. And don't you try to order me around just because Papa chose you today. I see someone is still sore about not being picked by Mr. Von Karma. I'm sorry, but being prosecuted by a 13-year-old is a little too anime for me. It's also real to see the knife up close. So we have the knife, the gun, an envelope. And what's this organizer doing here?
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot to tell you.
About what, Your Honor?
They found Mr. Faraday's personal organizer inside that evidence bag of his. Detective Bad requested it to be passed along to you. He said it would help the investigation.
Detective Bad said that? What a strange stroke of luck. We'll never look a gift horse in the mouth. We might as well flip through it, too. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Here we go. This gun was originally used to kill the Cadopian Embassy staff member. When the crime was reported, the responding police found Mr. Rell still holding it, which led to his immediate arrest. And then, this gun took the original shooter's life. How ironic. Indeed. There doesn't seem to be anything else we can learn from this piece of evidence. The knife. It's the knife that was used to kill Mr. Faraday. Who would have thought that such a beautiful piece of art could be used for such a cruel act? And it's never crossed your mind that you use your writing crop for the wrong purpose? Mr. Faraday's organizer. It appears he was in the habit of using it. It looks like he wrote his strategy for getting Mr. Rell convicted down in here. I have collected the evidence I need to prove that Rell was the killer. Between the handgun Rell had on him when he was arrested and the surveillance tape, I should be able to prove that he was the one. It appears that Mr. Faraday honestly believed that Mr. Rell was the killer in the case. Okay. And it would also appear that he had proof that Mr. Rell was not the Yatagarasu. No matter how he may try to play it, as long as I have the Yatagarasu's key, I can prove he's a phony. And he apparently also had a very definitive piece of evidence. And this was... Oh, really? Yes, I believe that Mr. Faraday was well prepared. It says, it's been a long battle. I hope that this will finally bring it to an end. Let's see. He was prepared to discredit any claim Mr. Rell may have had about being the real Yatagarasu. And he had a way to prove that Mr. Rell was the guilty party in the embassy murder. This organizer is a clue straight from Mr. Faraday. I'll have to take my time and give it a thorough read later. Mr. Faraday's organizer. Cool. Look, there's a picture stuck between these pages here. It appears to be a key, and a rather ornate one at that. Just look at the design on the handle. The craftsmanship is superb. Could this be the Yatagarasu's key Mr. Faraday mentioned in his organizer? It kind of looks like a solution to a puzzle from Onimusha. Which, hey, the Onimusha 2 remake's coming out in a few months. I'm pretty excited about that. Or remaster. Very excited about that. The Yatagarasu's key? Detective Bad said something earlier.
What's different about this time was that evidence related to the smuggling ring was sent to the police. And the sender was none other than the one who infiltrated the Kadopian embassy, the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu sent the evidence?
Until now, the Yatagarasu would always publicize any corrupt dealings through the mass media. But not this time. The evidence this time was something only Faraday and I, and a select few others knew about.
Mr. Faraday must have been trying to keep this secret safe. As the prosecutor on both the Yatagarasu and smuggling ring cases, that's to be expected. Alright, cool. That's odd. What is it? Mr. Faraday didn't mention anything about a knife in his organizer. That certainly is odd. The weaponry that was used to kill the Kadopian embassy staff member was the gun. But if that's the case, then where did the knife that was used to murder Mr. Faraday come from? Isn't it obvious it was brought into the courthouse by Mr. Rel? That's the only logical conclusion, right? No, because it's not that easy to smuggle a weapon like that in here. Every person who enters the courthouse doors is checked thoroughly for contraband. And furthermore, the suspect was handcuffed, making it impossible for him to bring a knife as large as this inside. In that case, how do you suppose this knife ended up inside the courthouse? I need to think carefully here. There is nothing related to the knife written anywhere in Mr. Faraday's organizer. However, it is a fact that this knife came from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag. Conversely, there is one item listed in Mr. Faraday's organizer that no one has claimed to have seen yet today. So in order to solve this mystery, I believe I will need to take another good look at the evidence. Miss Mouse Edgeworth, can I take the fact that you have yet to answer me to mean that you don't have an answer for me? Actually, I do know the answer, Francisca. What? Then what is it? One of the pieces of evidence we've been holding has been hiding a secret of its own. And it was through this piece of evidence that the knife was brought into the courthouse. Is it the key? Let's see. Hang on a second. Let's think through this so that we can get Edgeworth in on this. So... You know, I noticed something a second ago. Hang on. Can I look at this more in depth? Oh, I can't look at it 3D. So that has like butterfly motifs on it. I'm gonna go back to the knife. Yeah, look at the knife. Check out the knife. Do you see how it also has butterfly motifs? But if you press the button on it, I bet this is a switchblade, but it switches from a key to a knife. Because if you see, that has a weird pattern on it, and this has a different pattern on it. So it's the key. This Yatagarasu's key, Mr. Faraday mentions in his organizer. This is how the knife was brought into the courthouse. You're not making any sense, Miles Edgeworth. You just need to look a bit closer, Francisca, to see what I mean. Don't the color and ornamentation of the key's handle remind you of anything? They do remind me of the knife. Very good. Both the Yatagarasu's key in this photo and the murderous knife have this very unique design on their handles. Furthermore, even though Mr. Faraday mentions the Yatagarasu's key, The only object we found at the crime scene was the knife. You don't seriously mean to say... It appears that you finally caught up. And yes, I do mean to say that these two pieces are in fact one and the same.
But that's impossible!
Even if that is what you believe, we should still investigate this possibility.
Yeah.
Now then, let us examine this knife in a little more detail. Yay, we get a 3D view of it finally. I see it right there. Click it. Boom.
I can't believe it turned into a key. To think there was such a trick to this thing.
So the weapon used to kill Mr. Faraday is actually the key the Yatagarasu stole. This piece of information is more critical than anything we've learned up until now. The Yatagarasu's key data, yeah. Frankly, I'm shocked. Mr. Faraday only mentioned the key aspect of this piece of evidence in his organizer. It's possible that even he had no idea the key was hiding a knife blade inside. But if that's true, then only someone who knew about the key, the knife trick, could have killed Mr. Faraday. Even among law enforcement, this key was top secret. We were looking for someone who knew even more about the key than even Mr. Faraday. Meaning that only the person it could be is the one who sent the key in the first place. The great thief, Yatagarasu. Huh. Then maybe Mr. Rel really was the Yatagarasu, and he was the one who killed Mr. Faraday. Isn't that one possible scenario? No, not really. Especially since Mr. Faraday was absolutely convinced that Mr. Rel was not the Yatagarasu. Besides, as Detective Bad said earlier...
But when we questioned Rel about what was sent along with the white card, Rel had no idea what it was.
Yeah, I thought about that. Like, that's pretty, unless he was pretending not to know what it was, that's pretty concrete, I would say. I see. Alright then. I guess the person who knows the trick behind this key is someone else, and that that person is the real Yatagarasu. It seems that this key is truly the key to solving this case. Nice. Secret ability to change. And then what's this? I took a quick look through these documents before the trial started. Well, I wasn't even afforded the opportunity to skim it. I suppose I should explain it to you then. Yes, you should. Perfectly. In its entirety, if you please. On the night of September 8th, an embassy staff member was killed in front of the embassy. The staff member died of shock due to being shot in the heart. Mac Rel was brought in that night as a suspect and thoroughly questioned, because the murder weapon was found on him, for which he was arrested on the spot. A simpleton of a man, that's what he was. Perhaps he was, for the weapon wasn't the only incriminating evidence we had. Mr. Rel was caught in the act on film by a security camera. He was an even bigger simpleton than I'd thought. I can't believe he didn't notice the security camera. The Cadopian Embassy security system is supposedly very well designed. He may have simply not been aware that there was a camera in the area. So, have you seen the contents of the video for yourself? Yes, the surveillance video the security camera took was played during the trial by Mr. Faraday. You can clearly identify Mr. Rel on it. Even the sound of the gunshot was crystal clear. So the footage included sound, huh? I don't think I'd ever want to see the moment of someone's death in real life. Me neither. That's odd. We're short one piece of evidence. And the piece that's missing is the surveillance video that was played in court. The surveillance video? A surveillance camera! How could a piece of evidence just disappear? Where did it go? The video showing the moment in which Mr. Rel committed the murder. Where could it have gone indeed?
Are you done with your inspection of the evidence?
Yes, I'm finished. However, Your Honor, I am missing a single piece of prosecutorial evidence. Your Honor, were you derelict in your duties?
What? No! I dare not lick my duties! What do you take me for?
No, Your Honor. The most important piece of evidence in today's trial, the surveillance video, is not amongst the evidence you laid out for me.
But I brought Mr. Faraday's whole bag with me from the crime scene. Maybe the tape is still somewhere at the crime scene.
There's something wrong here. something about the missing piece of evidence. It would appear that for me to find the answers I seek, I will have to pay another visit to the scene of the crime, Defendant Lobby number 2. We're going back to Defendant Lobby number 2. Hey! That guy looks awfully familiar. September 10th, 6 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. That's Detective Bad, but who is he with? I've never seen that officer before.
So, did you find it?
No, not yet. And I've looked everywhere.
I see. Well then, please continue with the search.
Understood. I'll continue the search. So you're the one running this show. Prosecutors like you shouldn't even be allowed at crime scenes.
How dare you? Just who do you think you are? Refuses to elaborate and leaves. What was that all about, and who was that man just now? Whoever he was, I've never seen a more impudent officer in my life. Does he even know that we're standing right here behind him? Yeah, he's looking at you in the mirror.
I know you're standing right behind me. What do you want, kids?
Huh? It looks like you were paying attention after all.
Of course I was. I have eyes in the back of my head.
Oh, so that mirror isn't for vanity's sake. It's for him to keep an eye on who or what is behind him at all times. So tell me, Detective Bad, who was that rude man just now?
The guy came here from the Republic of Chengfa to study. He's Agent Long. He's trying everything he can to revive the lost honor of his family. He's traveling the world to study different philosophies of detainment from scratch.
By visiting various police departments around the world, he has a lot of dedication.
He's still just a rookie cop, but I sense a strong grudge of some sort from him. The guy's more useful than Gumshoe, even if he is rude.
Well, he sure has a lot of guts to come to this country and give prosecutors a hard time. I agree. However, I can think of one young lady that statement also applies to. Anyway, what was that agent looking for, Detective Bad? Earlier, that little girl was poking around in lobby number 1 as well.
Like I said before, got nothing to do with the two of you.
I highly doubt that. It has nothing to do with me. Fine, if this is the game I must play, then I will take this opportunity to draw out what he's been hiding and what happened in this room straight from him. Alright. We can't really look at the crime scene. We don't really need to. Let's just talk. Earlier, you were in lobby number 1, and now you're here in lobby number 2. You are quite the busy man, Detective Bad.
Multiple returns to a crime scene brings about success. That's what we detectives say.
I see. In that case, you wouldn't mind if I asked about what happened again, correct?
I don't have anything left to say to you, boy.
Boy. You'll see. I will draw my answer from you one way or another. Would it kill you to help us even a tiny bit in our investigation?
I gave Faraday's notebook to the judge earlier. That's help enough, don't you think?
Ugh. Please, we're asking you for just a bit more of your cooperation.
Don't push me, kid.
Time of the murder. I'd like to ask once again about what happened around here at the time of the crime.
I refuse to answer. Any more investigating you do would be a waste of time. Besides, how am I supposed to answer questions about things I don't know about?
Things you don't know about? But aren't you supposed to know everything? He should. Wait, is it possible? Maybe he doesn't know about the trick behind that piece of evidence. I should try showing it to him. It may prove to be the key to getting in some answers from Detective Bad. Get it? Because it's a key. Let's show him the key. Detective Beth, did you know of the existence of the item in this photograph?
Of course I did. It's my job to know everything related to the Yatagarasu case.
In that case, let me ask you something. Did you know that the knife that killed Mr. Faraday and this Yatagarasu's key are one and the same?
What? That's impossible.
It looks like he didn't know after all. This piece of evidence, which we call the Yatagarasu's key, is actually a well-camouflaged knife. Mr. Faraday was planning to use this Yatagarasu's key to prove that Mr. Rel was not the real Yatagarasu. Isn't that correct?
I guess so.
However, Mr. Faraday had no idea that it was, in fact, a knife.
Yeah, I have to admit, neither one of us knew that fact. And if neither of us knew, then no one in law enforcement knew either.
How did we miss something as big as this?
I noticed that since a little while ago, you appear to be searching for something. I presume that this key is what you were searching for?
Yeah, that's right.
And why were you searching for it?
Because I promised Faraday. I promised that I'd protect that key with my life. When after he was killed, the key disappeared from Faraday's evidence bag. Who would have thought that the key is what took Faraday's life?
Detective Bad, so that we may find the truth, please testify for me once more.
All right. But it doesn't matter how many times I tell you about what happened. Nothing will change.
Time of the murder. Detective Bad, I ask that you please testify once more about what happened in lobby number 2 and what you experienced in lobby number 1.
My answer is still the same. And this is the last time I'm going to do this.
That's fine, because I only need this one last time to clear everything up and find the truth behind this case. Here we go. We're gonna... Oh, yeah. We're doing a full-on intellectual battle with Detective Bad. Detective Bad's movements.
I was in lobby number 1, talking with you. We were talking about some trivial things. I heard the gunshot right before the trial was about to reconvene. When we heard it, you and I immediately dashed out in the hallway together. I saw Gumshoe goofing around there, and then we all ran into lobby number 2.
Sounds like the exact same story he told us before. Indeed. However, I feel that we have yet to draw out all the information that we can. Detective Bad's movements. Here we go. Lobby number 1. Why did Miss Yu choose lobby number 1? Answer me!
Who knows? She just said that she had something she wanted to talk to me about. And we walked into lobby number 1 together. That's all.
Whose answer remains the same as before, I see. We were talking about some trivial things. I was hoping you could expand on what exactly you were discussing with Miss Yu.
Trivial stuff. There's nothing important.
That's for me to decide. Face down. Alright, I suppose that's for him to decide. Moving on, then. Edgeworth is back down. Until you heard the gunshot, did you notice anything else that was out of the ordinary?
I didn't hear any other strange sounds until that gunshot.
If the gunshot Detective Bad heard was really the one from the murder, that would give that other piece of evidence an entirely different meaning. I ask that you please amend your testimony with that statement just now.
Sure.
I didn't hear any other strange sounds until that gunshot. Wouldn't you have heard the balloon go off? That's what I'm thinking. Let's present. Detective Bad, does this balloon fragment remind you of anything?
It's the same color as the one Kay was holding.
Oh, so you knew all about that girl's balloon.
Yeah, I was sitting with her up in the gallery. During the recess, just before we split up, I filled that balloon up for her.
Well, as you may have already surmised, this piece did indeed come from Kay's balloon.
So, what about the balloon?
I wonder if you might remember hearing this balloon pop at some point?
What are you getting at?
This fragment was found in the hallway right in front of lobby number 2. Furthermore, it was the sound of this balloon popping that the judge mistook as a gunshot.
Oh, so the sound that the judge heard was not actually a gunshot, huh?
On top of that, his honor said that he heard the balloon pop about 20 minutes before the trial was to reconvene. Yes, which means that his honor heard the balloon pop in the hallway, when you were in lobby number 1, Detective Bad. And if you were in lobby number 1 at that time, you were close enough that you should have heard the balloon popping as well.
So?
Don't give me a so!
We just proved that there is a flaw in your testimony.
The crackling of the truth is louder than the sound of your sweet naivete cracking. And since you kids don't seem to know, let me fill you in on something. Did you ever stop to think why the doors and walls of this place seem so rugged? That's because they were designed to keep secrets from being leaked.
What is that supposed to mean?
The doors and walls are super thick. Dummy thick, even. The window panes are double layered. To top it all off, even the curtains are made of a special sound-absorbing material.
Then you mean...
Since I was shut up inside lobby number 1, there was no way I could have heard that sound.
No! I knew that's what he was going to say. And that means that Scruffface's testimony is completely useless? If the rooms are soundproof, then of course he wouldn't hear any sign of a struggle. No!
That's also why it's only natural that I didn't hear the balloon popping. Now do you get it, kids?
Miles, I thought we were supposed to be the ones finding flaws in his logic, not the other way around. The other way around? It's not possible to hear the sound of a balloon popping if we're in lobby number 1. However, if we examine the situation in reverse, a person standing in the hallway should not be able to hear the real gunshot either. And yet Detective Gumshoe claims to have heard it while he was standing in the hallway. Detective Bad, if that is the case, how exactly did you hear the gunshot?
What do you mean, how? I just did.
It would appear that you have yet to realize the contradiction in your own words.
Oh? How so?
If the rooms are as soundproof as you say they are, then how did the sound of the gunshot enter your ears?
I see what you mean. I guess I'm more out of it from Faraday's murder than I'd thought.
Which means what exactly, Miles? In the end, what does it all boil down to? It boils down to this. There must be a reason as to how Detective Bad and Gumshoe heard a gunshot they theoretically couldn't have. It looks like we need to examine the state of the crime scene again, huh? The state of the crime scene? Wait, can it be?
It's that ultra-strong perfume you wears. She spilled some of it.
Ah, yeah.
Ooh, and way too noisy.
Yeah. The surveillance video? How could a piece of evidence just disappear? Where did it go? I get it. I get it. I get it. It all makes sense now. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain blast here. Okay, so, all right, here we go. Somebody put the tape of the crime in the TV and turned it up super loud. Wait. The windows were open. That's how they were able to hear it, right? So the windows in lobby number 1 and 2 were both open. Also, the window in the hall was open. That is how Gumshoe and Bad heard the gunshot. And whose perfume caused the window to be opened? It was Callisto U's. someone who had a grudge against Faraday. So, Callisto U is the culprit, I think. And Bad opened the window because of how smelly it was. And then eventually, the recording that it was the crime that Rel was accused of involved a gunshot. They heard that. So, the murder occurred earlier than was originally surmised. That is what I'm thinking. Now, anyway, let's connect these. Right, missing evidence. Very loud television. Yeah. That was to connect. What? They don't? Not exactly a shining example of the perfect line of logic. Okay. Maybe we need more. Missing evidence. Let's do the dissipating the smell in lobby number 2 window. Yeah, we got that. It's simply not possible for the killer to have escaped through barred windows, and yet the fragrance of the perfume managed to escape from defendant lobby number 1. Of course, incorporeal things can move freely through these open, barred windows. Oh, so, the murderer is Shadowcat from the X-Men, so she just phased through the wall. Got it. We got, open windows, missing evidence, the very loud... Open windows. The criminal couldn't have made it through, but what about other things? Sound! Baby. Very loud television. Yeah. Now then, what else besides the smell can go both in and out of an open, barred window? The answer is sound. So no matter how careful the killer was, if the windows were open, the jig would be up. And since the windows in both defendant lobby number 1 and the hallway were open, that explains how the sound of a gunshot could be heard in both locations. Gunshots could be heard. Yeah. So we gotta do gunshot could be heard and missing evidence. Now we got it. The missing piece of evidence is a video that shows the moment in which Mr. Rel killed the embassy staff member. The sound of the gunshot left quite an impression on me when it was played during the trial. The video should have been returned to Mr. Faraday's evidence bag for the recess, and brought back here. If it disappeared after that time, then it's possible that the tape is still here in this room. Eureka! The evidence that the missing evidence created for me is the gunshot sound that no one should have been able to hear in the first place. Miles, what have you been thinking about? He's just sitting there thinking for the past, 20 minutes, silently. Stop wasting time thinking and let's start looking again. It's not a waste of time to think, for I figured out where we should look. And where would that be? I believe we should examine the television.
The TV? Well, you kids have fun. Go ahead and examine whatever you like.
Yeah, we're gonna look. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Let's look. It's a video player, and there seems to be a videotape inside. It looks like it. The tape must have stopped on its own when it reached the end. This tape. Could it not be the missing surveillance tape? I suppose, but... Detective Bad, would it be alright with you if I verified the contents of this video?
Sure. Knock yourself out.
Alright, then let's rewind this and see what we have.
If I remember correctly, the footage of Rel killing the embassy staff member should be at about the 30-minute mark from the start of the tape.
Understood. This should be about right. Now then, let's see. Yeah, this is the footage of Mr. Rel shooting the embassy staff member. I knew it. The missing piece of evidence, the surveillance video, was here all along. Yeah.
The sound. What's the meaning of this?
It appears that Detective Bad has figured out the true source of the gunshot he heard. With this, I think we can figure out the trick behind the double murder. Do you mean that you figured it all out, then? Yes. All I have to do now is show what the gunshots Detective Bad and Gumshoe heard was, and through where they heard it from. Yeah, Fine. In that case, show me what you've deduced. Now to show what the gunshot Detectives Bad and Gumshoe heard was, and through where they heard it from. Yeah, he won't rest. That's right. He's got a fever, and the only prescription is looking at nooks and crannies. Well, we heard it through the window. First, we have to deduce it was the TV, right? Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Well, yeah, it was the surveillance video. This piece of evidence will clear away the last remaining contradiction in this case. Miles, I believe that piece may actually be proof of a different last of sorts. It proves that today will be your last day as a prosecutor. Duh! It appears that I've made a mistake. However, I know that the last riddle and its answer lies somewhere within this room. Need to calm down and think it through once more. Okay, is it not the TV, but rather the open window? Spot, yeah. Is it the window? Okay, it's the window. Got it. If the door and windows to the crime scene, namely this room that we're in, were closed, the killer could have used the gun and no one would have been the wiser. That's true. This courthouse does seem to be well designed for such a thing, as it were. However, what happened in reality was Detective Gumshoe, Detective Bad, and Miss Yu, all three of them heard the gunshot. Well, the windows in lobby number 1, number 2, and the hallway were open. So naturally, the people in those locations could hear it. Ah, but then why would the criminal open the window in the first place? To allow the gunshot to be heard, I suppose. Correct. That's the only logical conclusion we can draw from this. But why was that necessary in the first place? I want a real answer, Miles. I demand satisfaction. Very well. I believe the killer wanted to manipulate our perception of a certain fact. What was it that the killer wanted to manipulate our perception of? The crime scene, when the crime took place, or the murder weapon? I think it's fairly obvious it's when the crime took place, because you would go to the trouble to set up a fake sound to establish that a gunshot was fired not at the time that you thought it was fired at, right? The crime scene, we know what the crime scene is. The murder weapon is still a gun, as well as a knife. That hasn't changed. The actual reality is it's when the crime took place. The killer wanted to fabricate the time of death to their precise wishes, and they used the gunshot in the surveillance video to do so. So that's why the tape was left running.
You mean the gunshot I heard was from this video?
Yes, which means that the murders really occurred at an earlier time than we thought. It must have been during the recess, but before Detective Gumshoe was on guard duty. Someone who has no alibi for that time period and planned this crime out in advance. That person is the real killer. Investigation complete. Yeah. All right. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, what is it? Miss Yu is asking for you. She's in the courtroom. She says that she's identified the murderer, but she wants to clarify something. It looks like Miss Yu is still investigating something. Understood. Please tell her that I will be right over.
I'll come along. I want to hear what she has to say.
It would appear that the time has come to uncover the truth. To be continued, yeah. Save, you bet. All right. Ladder confrontation former Callisto U. All right. I'm going to take a very, very short break, and I'll be right back, and we're going to finish up this case. I'm back. Here we go. September 10th, 6:15 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Okay. What are you doing here? Oh, hello, mister. I am still investigating. But the object you're looking for is already...
Okay. Don't mind him. Please continue with your investigation.
Okay, you got it. Detective Bad, haven't we already found what you were looking for?
If it means I can keep her in the dark just a little longer, any little task will do.
Oh, you're more sympathetic than I thought.
Huh.
I've been waiting for you, Edgeworth. I've also been waiting for the moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest. The moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest? Wasn't that when we placed Detective Gumshoe under arrest? I think we've more than solved this case already. Don't you? We'll see. It all depends on whether or not your logic holds. Oh. I see we even have a viewer in the gallery. And why, even Mr. Bad is here. A viewer in the gallery? I'm hardly just a bystander.
I have a duty to see this case through to the end, no matter how it turns out.
Oh, is that right? Anyway, I thought you might like to hear what I've slaved away to find out. I've taken statements on every single person's movements during the time when our suspect was in the hallway. I also confirmed that there is no possible route of escape from lobby number 2. Therefore, the killer must without a doubt be Detective Gumshoe. And that's all you have? Yeah, that's all there is to my conclusion, and this case. Sorry, but I beg to differ. In a trial, there is always time for a rebuttal, and we are standing in the court of law. It'd be more than appropriate to follow the rules of court in this case, don't you think? I'm absolutely like a rookie to think such a thing. Oh, but all right. I'll play along and give you a proper testimony. If my logic is correct, then I've already won. All I have to do now is prove it by showing who the real killer is. Misuse argument. Everyone, sans the suspect, has an alibi for when the gun went off. Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right? I also confirmed that there is no possible escape route from lobby number 2. This leaves us with one unshakable conclusion. The Detective Gumshoe is the killer. Oh, now that you have your testimony, I expect a good rebuttal, Edgeworth. But of course, there's no need to confront her logic head-on right now. I should instead focus on drawing out any trump cards she has up her sleeve. Let's use arguments, okay? Has an alibi for when the gun went off, okay? Suspect, but I thought the Detective Gumshoe's alibi has already been proven. Are you joking, Edgeworth? I assure you, this is no joke. Look, I know you heard from the judge earlier that the detective was in the hallway with Mr. Faraday's daughter eating a Swiss roll. Yes, that's correct. But see, that was 20 minutes before the real gunshot went off, right? And the problem is, there's no one else who can corroborate what he did since the snacking. I see she's done her research well. Which means that I should focus on drawing out whatever trump card she's withholding. Okay. Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right? Whether they've been thoroughly investigated or not is for me to decide. The scratched eyebrows and lines on your forehead are back. Anyway, even if you believe it hasn't been exhaustive, the crime scene Lobby number 2 has no way out other than the hallway Detective Gumshoe is standing in. And because he claimed to be there, that makes him the only possible suspect. But isn't it also possible that someone escaped through a window and into the garden? That's the first place everyone looked, silly. The police aren't a bunch of lazy bums. They looked into every possibility, you know. Isn't that right, Mr. Bad?
Yeah. There wasn't a scrap of evidence. Suggests someone used one of the windows. There also weren't any footprints or anything in the courtyard garden.
I suppose they really did check everything that could be relevant to the case. I also confirmed that there is no possible escape route from lobby number 2. True. Not for a person. Are you absolutely positive that there are no possible routes of escape? Of course I'm sure. And why are you so certain? This is a courthouse, the place where criminals are brought to be judged. If there was an escape route, I'm sure every criminal would be using it to escape. It's just common sense. Mouse Edgeworth, so just use a bit more of it in the future. Which leaves us with one unshakable conclusion. Gumshoe is the killer, eh? You may think it unshakable, but to me, there are still too many unanswered questions. For example, who was it that placed the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand? But you're the only one still wondering that. Detective Gumshoe probably had no idea which hand Mr. Faraday used to write with. Even if you know someone, it doesn't mean you'll know which hand they write with, right? I mean, I certainly don't care about that sort of thing. I'm not about to let her get a rise out of me with such a flippant statement. I suppose we really reached the end now. I already have my trump card ready. All that remains is to play it. But before I do, I think I should inquire into a little something about her argument. You said earlier that you confirmed the alibis of every person other than the suspect. However, I don't recall either Francisco or myself speaking with you about the subject. Ah, but they were witnesses. For you, there's your mentor who gave you an alibi. I see. As for the little Missy, she came to the courthouse during the recess. It was stopped by a security guard at the door to the hallway. She gave him quite a whipping for that, or so I heard. I'm the daughter of Manfred von Karma, and I will not be forcibly stopped by a guard or a bailiff or anyone else. Wait, so basically the only reason Francisca bothered to show up today was because she found out that I was to be the replacement prosecutor? By the way, Miss Yu, what about everyone's alibis before Detective Gumshoe was assigned to guard duty? What about them? Have you looked into what people were doing during that span of time? What kind of idiot do you take me for? It doesn't matter when the killer went into lobby number 2. From the time we heard the gunshot to the time Mr. Bad and I arrived on the scene as we dashed from lobby number 1, the only person who could have committed the crime was Detective Gumshoe. Yes, let's talk about when you and Detective Bad heard that gunshot, shall we? I suppose that if we go by your logic, then Detective Gumshoe is the only one. However, what if the crime had occurred at an entirely different time than when the gunshot you heard went off? What then? Huh? That gunshot was a trap meant to manipulate our perception. Sadly, your explanation is very lacking, Edgeworth. The gunshot we heard in lobby number 1. Care to explain how that could have been fabricated? See ya, Rat Matt. Thanks for coming, man. Alright. Surveillance video. Let's present it. That tape. Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. This is the surveillance tape of Mr. Rel the prosecution presented in today's trial. This was found loaded in the video player in lobby number 2. That was connected to the large television that had its volume turned all the way up. You can't honestly mean that the sound we heard was the gunshot in the video. But I do. Which leads me to my next point. The murders occurred much earlier than when anyone heard the gunshot.
That's the only thing I can think of, too.
After committing double homicide, the killer took the surveillance video out from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag, turned the television's volume all the way up, and left the video to play. If played from the beginning, it would take 30 minutes for the gunshot sound to come on. And since we now know that this method of time manipulation is possible, it opens up the possibility that the killer is someone other than Detective Gumshoe. Sounds from a television doesn't amount to much. But of course, Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth and a little Miss Von Karma already knew that much from the very beginning, right?
Of course we knew. Didn't we, Miles?
Yes, of course. We know about the soundproof quality of this courthouse's rooms. Of course, I'm not about to admit we had no idea until only a little while ago. That's right, and if the rooms are soundproof, then we should not have been able to hear it. And yet we heard the gunshot clear as day. And
that's it. End of story.
But it's not. Huh? How should I explain why she was able to hear a gunshot from the soundproof room? The window was open. There was a hole in the wall. The door was open. No, the window was open. Duh. There is actually one common point between lobby number 1 and lobby number 2. And it is that despite the fact that both rooms have air conditioners installed, a window was open in each. Now we know that the window in lobby number 2 was opened by the killer. However, a window in lobby number 1 was also opened.
It's probably just coincidence that they were both open at the time.
It was no mere coincidence, I assure you. Why was the window opened in lobby number 1? The answer is that a certain person did something to cause the window to be opened. And the person who triggered that action, that person is the real guilty party. The real killer in this double murder is...
Callisto Yu and her smelly, nasty perfume.
Miss Callisto Yu, I hereby formally indict you of the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel.
Huh? What? You indict me?
Are you serious, Miles? Why do you think she is the killer? I don't understand her motive just yet. But of course I'm serious. Because she is the only one who could have done it. Well, Miss Yu? You still feel like laughing now? yeah, of course I do, Edgeworth. My argument must not be tight enough yet. Although, I never thought things would spiral into this. But I'll have you know, I'm enjoying this dance quite a bit. I guess this means it's time for my own rebuttal now, right? Here we go. Miss Yu's rebuttal. You argue that the window was opened. However, do you have proof it was I who did that? Furthermore, do you have proof that the tape was used in committing the crime? Frankly, I'm shocked at you for going around accusing people of murder like this. Especially with logic as full of holes as yours. This is where it really starts. I mustn't let my guard down for even a second. The truth will blow away. Now is the time to put the Pantatin von Karma perfect proof to the test. Well, it's the perfume. But let's press anyway. And you have proof it was I who did that. Let's see. Evidence? All I'd need to do is have some prints analyzed and we'd know straight away. Be my guest. She sounds as though she has the room to maneuver. Which means, even if we were able to lift prints, they'd only show that it was someone else. But why that someone else was forced to open the window? That's simple logic. Why don't I try presenting that piece of evidence? I have nothing to lose.
What's wrong? The scrunched eyebrows, lines on your forehead, they're all back!
More importantly, are you going to be okay not running a fingerprint analysis? Yes, I'll be fine. Oh, well, in that case, I'll just continue with my testimony, all right? Here, can we go back then? Can we just present the perfume? Yeah. I'm sure you've seen this before, haven't you, Miss Yu?
It's worth. I never knew you were into wearing that kind of perfume.
It's not exactly what I'd recommend for boys, you know?
What? This isn't mine?
That's right, it's mine, and I received it from Detective Bad, you see.
Miss Yu, you can pretend all you like, but we know at least this much is for sure, that you are the one who gave this bottle of perfume to Detective Bad.
You're super easy to rile up. So, what about the perfume?
While you were in lobby number 1, you made a big show of spilling some of this perfume. That's according to Detective Bad.
Oh, I know.
You also knew that if you spilled it, he would naturally move to open a window.
Come now, I've already told you all that's just a big coincidence. After we opened the window in lobby number 1, I just left it open, you know? So maybe it was just dumb luck that we heard the gunshot through the window.
The timing of when you were going to spill the perfume is something you could control. And the most important fact about this case is when people were made to hear the shot. Furthermore, it would have been pointless if you didn't have an alibi for yourself at the time.
You mean?
Miss Yu, you were the one who called Detective Bad into lobby number 1 when you saw him bring Detective Gumshoe into the hallway. Is that correct? All of today's premeditated events could only have been thought up by you, Miss Yu.
You accuse me of murder on the fact that I spilled a little perfume. Well, allow me to say this much. I couldn't have killed Mr. Faraday. Would you care to testify as to why? Look, I've had a lot of fun today, really. But I grow weary of this game of cat and mouse. Let's make this the last testimony and wrap up this absurd case once and for all. Here we go. Big times. Why it couldn't be me. Accusing someone of murder over a spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top. But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma. In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Mr. Faraday. After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from. Miles, her testimony is flawless. Yes, but no matter what sort of trick she may try to pull, she won't escape me. And if I'm lacking in information, I'll just draw it out of her. Okay, that sounds like a clue to do some pressing. But she does make a point. As far as we know right now, she couldn't have known the key turned into a knife. I think I already explained the significance of that earlier. You only confirmed that I did spill some perfume. But that's all. That you would accuse me of murder based on a simple spill? Don't you dare complain when I sue you for defamation of character. Do as you like. But as for me, I believe. You believe? I believe that you are the true culprit in this case. Believe it. Datebayo. My, you're enthusiastic. Of course, I should have guessed. But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma. I formally request that you desist in your attack against my mentor. Yes, or we'll sue you for defamation. All I'm doing is telling the truth. Well, maybe more like spreading gossip. Although your adamant denials are, shall we say, just adding fuel to the fire. How dare you say such a thing?
Calm down, little girl. Don't let her get to you.
Why did you have to ruin my fun? Well, shall we continue? In any case, it simply could not have been me. And why exactly could you not have killed him? We're just about to testify to that. You're such an impatient man. I'm not really into that, you know, Edgeworth.
Your preferences have no bearing on what is at hand?
Feeling a little uncomfortable, are we?
Monsieur, you will desist in this tomfoolery and return to your testimony.
And Miles, if you're going to lose your cool, then I won't show you any mercy.
Sorry. Monsieur, please continue with your testimony.
Sure. As I was saying, I couldn't have possibly killed Mr. Faraday. I don't even know where the knife... This is the one where she's saying she doesn't know about the knife. At this rate, she will inevitably escape. But if she really was the one who killed Mr. Faraday, then she must have known about the existence of the knife. I'm sorry, Miss Yu. Maybe you weren't aware. However, the knife that was used to kill Mr. Faraday was taken from his evidence bag.
Miles, what do you think you're doing?
I'm drawing the truth out of her, that's what I'm doing. Huh? But I don't recall a knife being presented at the trial earlier today. Well, I suppose that's because the evidence was something Mr. Faraday had yet to use. So that's what you're trying to do. Look, why don't you cut it out with the lies? I've already figured you out. There was no knife inside Mr. Faraday's evidence bag. The only evidence he had yet to present was the key the Yatagarasu had sent. And unless a key can magically turn into a knife, you really don't have a leg to stand on. Did you really think you could trap me? Come now, be honest. No, I never intended to do such a thing. It was all a misunderstanding on my part. In any case, I wonder if you might have penned what you just said to your testimony. Sure, why not? I'll even say it as many times as you'd like. There was a key in his evidence bag, but you can't kill anyone with a simple key. Ah, we gotcha. We gotcha. Present the knife. We gotcha. How did you know it was a key? Miss Yu, I wonder if you might take a look at this photo for me. This is a picture of the key the Yatagarasu sent to the police. However, while it may look like a key at first glance, it in fact has the secret ability to transform into a knife. Which means that was inside Mr. Faraday's bag. Was both the Yatagarasu's key and the murderous knife. You knew that the key was inside Mr. Faraday's bag, did you not? Yes. Well, with the Yatagarasu's key alone, it's more than possible to kill Mr. Faraday. Do you understand now? Just knowing of the existence of the Yatagarasu's key. Okay. I still haven't had a good look at it. Showing it to me from that far away, you could be lying for all I know. You would, even now, still feign ignorance? I'm not feigning anything! But we can't have you accusing me of a crime with false evidence now, can we? I mean, Mr. Von Karma, I've heard some very interesting rumors about him. Ugh, you mocking my papa? Don't you dare sully the good name of my mentor. Now take a good look. This piece of evidence is more than real. Wow, who knew there was such a trick to this thing? Are you satisfied now? But of course, you knew from the very beginning, didn't you? You knew that the knife and the Yatagarasu's key are one and the same. Otherwise, someone like you, who isn't a member of law enforcement and who would never have been privy to this trick, would have never known about it to begin with. Huh? Furthermore, the something that the Yatagarasu sent to the police, how did you have knowledge as to what it was? Actually, I heard it from Mr. Faraday. Just before he dragged Mr. Rell off, he told me... Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. He also told me about the key turning into a knife at that time. But he didn't tell me about how the key actually transforms. What you're saying is simply not possible. Huh? Oh, why not? Because Mr. Faraday himself didn't know about the hidden knife within the key. But within these pages, he mentions nothing about a knife. I'm not sure he would have written everything in his organizer, you know. Wouldn't something of this importance be better left to oral communication? Unfortunately, that is also impossible. Because Detective Bad didn't know about the knife aspect either. Shh. What would have been highly classified information, even within the police force, and is something that even the lead detective on the case didn't know. Why would Mr. Faraday have felt the need to share such information with the opposition? Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have much of a reason to. It looks like I gave a pretty lame excuse, huh? How can you laugh at a time like this? She probably just realized the flaw in her logic and is actually in a panic over it. But that's not something we need to concern ourselves with. I suppose you're right. Miss Yu, I'd like to state that I also know how you know the real nature of this knife. Do you now? Well, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and show me? Oh, I will. And I'll wipe that smile off your face by the time we're through. This is it. Moment of truth. The secret behind the Yatagarasu's key. Only one person would have knowledge of it from the get-go. Who would know from the start that the Yatagarasu's key could change into a knife? The Yatagarasu. There was only one person who would have known about the dual nature of the key. And that is the person who sent the Yatagarasu's key to the police. So she's the Yatagarasu? That is to say, the Yatagarasu herself. Are you saying that this lawyer is the great thief Yatagarasu? Monsieur, you used Mr. Rel to lure Mr. Faraday into a trap, didn't you? You professed to bear a grudge against criminals. Why? Why do something like this? Hmm? Who would have thought that you, stupid rookie prosecutor, would see through me? You're sending the biggest chill down my spine right now, Edgeworth. This feeling of thrill, it's even greater than when I sneak into some place. You killed Faraday. Why? Answer me, Callisto, you! Yeah. Callisto, you, huh? That's not my real name. Because my real identity is, yes, the great thief Yatagarasu. Let me tell you something, Edgeworth. Mr. Faraday was one difficult man to deal with. For you see, he had discovered my true identity, which is why I had to erase him from the world of law. I made Rel an offer, an acquittal, for a little favor in return. All he had to do was accuse Mr. Faraday of being the Yatagarasu in court. But once we entered the recess, Rel was dragged off by Mr. Faraday, which threw my plan into a complete mess. I chased after them and eavesdropped on them through a crack in the door. That Rel caves to only two things: money and authority, just as all thugs do. I feared my plan was going to be ruined if Mr. Faraday held on to Rel any longer. Plus, if I had let them continue on the way they were, I would have been found out. And that's why I had no choice. I had to kill them both. But didn't you say that you despised criminals?
But do I really?
You?
Have you forgotten about the KG-8 incident too?
Maybe. What sort of woman would... So then was it your plan to kill Mr. Faraday with the very evidence that you sent? Well, I had a good idea what Mr. Faraday was going to do. I anticipated that Mr. Faraday was going to prove that Rel wasn't the Yatagarasu by using this Yatagarasu's key as evidence, and that he would bring it with him. Which is why I thought to use the knife portion. With a weapon as well disguised as this, no one would be the wiser. Because who in their right mind would think something like this could be a weapon? I casually entered lobby number 2 on the pretext that I had to talk with Mr. Faraday. And in order to get in with him, I pretended to be worried about something. He then let me hold the Yatagarasu's key just like that. He never noticed that I had changed the key into a knife inside that plastic bag. And he didn't have the chance to take note of the knife that took his life.
How could you kill him?
I knew him for a long time, you know. At the very least, I thought to give him a quick and painless death. But if you killed Mr. Faraday first, there was no need for you to kill Mr. Rel as well.
I believe I mentioned why when we were placing Detective Gumshoe under arrest.
Something about having accidentally created an eyewitness, and how that led the killer to think about setting them up as though they'd killed each other. Then the trick with the surveillance tape? Yeah, I hadn't actually planned to use a gun. The risk was too high that I'd be caught. However, that's when I remembered the existence of that surveillance tape, which is why I had Rel help me set up the crime scene. And after all was said and done, I rewarded him for all his hard work with a bullet.
You're a defense attorney, aren't you? How could you betray a client?
Client! If you want to talk about who was a client of who's first, it was me.
Huh?
I was the client in the murder of the Cadopian embassy staff member, Dead Man.
You ordered a hit job?
You still haven't figured it out, Mr. Bad. I had Dead Man killed because he was about to give away info about the smuggling ring. Now, who exactly do you think would benefit from such an assassination?
It can't be.
You're...
That's right. I'm a member of the smuggling ring.
What? How could this... You don't mean... You're working with Manny Cochin too, do you?
Yeah, maybe not. Guess you'll never know.
The other Gross who claims to be noble, but you're just another cold-blooded murderer.
That's right, little girl. The Atagarasu is just another killer.
Be quiet, you! The Atagarasu, you can run from the law, but you'll never escape it. So just humbly accept the judgment of this court.
Hey, Edgeworth. Did you know the Atagarasu has 3 legs? Do you know why that is?
Huh?
No? Well, let me tell you. It means that the Atagarasu has more than one razor-sharp way to do her work.
Huh?
You really are too naive, Edgeworth. Even handed the Yatagarasu's key right to me without a second thought. Everything may not have gone according to plan, but I'll still gladly take it.
You mean the key was your real target?
And even after I gave you such great advice, didn't I tell you to always keep a good eye on a criminal? Or you may regret what comes of your negligence.
You two, get down! My body, I can't move.
Hey, mister, to your right!
You!
Are you all right, Francisca? I'm perfectly fine, Miles. Her voice is shaking, but it looks like she's unharmed. Where did Kay go?
That's a gunshot.
September 10th, 7 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3.
Sorry, but it looks like she got away. I called the precinct, and you should have a perimeter set up soon.
Detective Bad, are you all right? I heard a gunshot.
I'm okay. Just got another hole in my jacket.
He may say he's fine, but he looks quite shaken.
But more importantly, Mr. Edgeworth, Miss Von Karma, are you too hurt?
I'm absolutely fine. I'm also all right, thanks to Kay.
Speaking of Kay, where is she?
I don't know. She just sort of disappeared.
I'll go look for her. Oh, and hey, Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir. Detective Bad, sir.
I'm sorry I doubted you.
Don't worry, sir. It's not your fault. Well, I lied to you guys, too, after all.
I heard about what happened from Kay. Lying while giving testimony is still unforgivable. But in this case, you were protecting Kay and her feelings. Looks like you just might have what it takes to be a real detective.
Huh?
Now, don't you ever lose that detective spirit, okay?
You got it, Pops.
Perhaps. Watched one too many detective dramas recently, have we? Way to single-handedly destroy the cheery atmosphere with one snarky comment.
I should get back to the investigation. I swear, I'll catch you if it's the last thing I do.
Be careful, Detective Bad. And take care.
Thanks. Well, I'm off. Maybe we'll run into each other again someday.
Thanks a bunch, pal. You're the best. You really did find out the truth behind everything.
Yes, well, I'm glad we solved everything before you were taken to prison. The judge is sad.
I can't believe how much trouble I caused you with my testimony, Detective Gumshoe. It was no problem, really. I mean, I lied too, so I didn't really help anything. It's really not your fault, Your Honor.
Well, even if we didn't have His Honor's testimony, I think that lawyer would have found another way to get you convicted on her behalf.
Yeah, I can't believe I was about to get fired during my first week as a detective.
Well, so long as you're not fired, you should work hard, give all that you have, and perform your duties well. Oh, and one more thing. Kay left a present for you with me.
She did? Oh, what is it?
What was it that Kay left for me? The proof of their friendship? It was the Swiss roll. I didn't forget that.
It's a courthouse special Swiss roll. Can I really have it?
Yes, it's a present meant for you, after all.
Thanks a bunch. You have no idea how happy this makes me, pal. I'm gonna eat this right now.
Sure, go ahead. The Swiss rolls Detective Gumshoe and Kay bought together. While the one Kay saved never reached her father, it would appear that her sentiments have touched the heart of this detective. He's so happy, it's as though he's having a welcome back celebration of his own. Well, I was asked by Kay to give it to him.
Whoop, that was good, pal. I can't believe I got to eat 2 of these delicious things in one day. It's like I'm in Swiss roll paradise or something. I've got to thank Kay myself. Hey, wait, where is she?
You only noticed just now? Was his mind not present when he discussed her earlier? Detective Bad left to go search for her earlier. Maybe you should go join him.
Yeah, you betcha, pal. I'm gonna go help him. Oh, but first... You know what, pal? Actually, I guess I shouldn't be so rude to you anymore, huh? I'm gonna stick right by your side from now on, Mr. Edgeworth, sir!
I sense nothing but a most troublesome relationship from that ominous statement. We should go home too, Miles. We have to hurry and report what has happened to Papa. Agreed. Well, I'm afraid we must be going now, Detective.
Roger, sir, and don't you worry. I'll investigate the next case we're on real well.
I'll, be counting on you. The scent of trouble is definitely in the air. Thus, like a bad dream, my first outing at court came to a disturbing end. A few months later, I was finally able to properly stand in court as a prosecutor. But the detective in charge of the investigation was, as I dreaded, Detective Gumshoe. After that, he became my direct subordinate. I have tried, but words fail to describe the immeasurable suffering he has caused me. But I suppose that's just how things are. As for the little girl who suddenly disappeared, she's now... Oh, we're going back to the last case. Okay, yeah. So, do you remember now? Yes, I remember everything. Okay? It's been a while.
Kay, you sure grew up a lot.
Of course, but thank goodness. I thought you two had totally forgotten about me.
You know, I was really worried about you after all that. Where have you been all this time?
Heh, Gummy, I didn't know you cared. After my father died, I want to go live with my mother's relatives. They lived really far away, so I wasn't able to come back here all that much.
Oh, is that what happened? Well, I'm just glad you're all right.
Hey, so does it all make sense now?
You betcha it does.
Oh, you know what? I was going through my father's bookshelves recently and... Actually, there are still a number of things that don't make sense, Kay.
Huh?
First of all, why did you come all this way to see me? And second, why are you calling yourself the Yatagarasu? The Yatagarasu was Callisto Yu, the woman who killed your father. No, you're wrong. The real Yatagarasu was my father.
Huh? Mr. Faraday was the Yatagarasu?
Like I said, I was going through my father's bookshelf recently, and I found a secret diary hidden among his books. I have no regrets in choosing to walk the path of the Yatagarasu. That was written in his diary, and that's how I know for sure.
But that's impossible.
What's with that look? You don't believe me? It wasn't just the expression on my face. I clearly said it was impossible just now. Alright then, how do you explain this? It's a way of disarming any security system of the user's choosing. Yep, that's Little Thief. Truth be told, this is the Yatagarasu's greatest secret. And this little gizmo was used by my father.
Wow! Mr. Faraday wasn't just a great prosecutor, he was really a great thief, huh?
Yeah, my father really worked hard to steal the truth. But he was killed. And the Yatagarasu was no more. But despite that, the Yatagarasu has been spotted again recently. Someone other than you? Here, Mr. Edgeworth. Take a look at this article. Yatagarasu sends card to embassy. Huh? The Yatagarasu sent the embassy a calling card? Yeah, meaning this person's a fake. I'm almost certain that Callisto Yu lady is behind this. Because the real Yatagarasu would never send something like a gaudy card out. But the Yatagarasu did send a white card along with anything to be publicized. That's what Detective Bad told me 7 years ago, if memory serves. Well, as soon as I heard the news, I got all wound up, and I knew I couldn't just let it go. So I searched you out, so that I could obtain the truth behind the Yatagarasu. Because if anyone can help me find it, I figured it's you, Mr. Edgeworth. So you're saying that I have your father's and misused identities backwards? Yes, because the real Yatagarasu is noble to the end. And I want to revive the real, noble Yatagarasu. If I don't, my father will never be able to rest in peace. Okay.
Kay, you're so honorable. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'll always be here to cheer you on, pal.
Even if you are honorable, a thief is a thief. And if you are plotting to commit a crime, then I'm afraid I can't be complicit.
Mr. Edgeworth? Oh, you guys are not making it easy for me. Who am I supposed to support now?
Mr. Edgeworth, what I want from you is not to steal something. What I want is the arrest of that evil woman. That evil woman? You mean Callisto Yu? I think it's too hard for me to catch her all by myself. But I thought that since you were able to expose her for who she is, then maybe... Please, Mr. Edgeworth, won't you help me? Come to think of it, I do believe I owe you. Huh? Owe me for what? When Miss Yu made her escape, it was you who saved my life. Furthermore, you helped me with the investigation today. I'm not so rude as to leave favors unrepaid. Then you mean... Yes. That case has been weighing down my soul ever since that fateful day. Perhaps the time has come to settle things once and for all. If you don't intend to sully your hands in a crime, then I believe I can help you. Mr. Edgeworth, thank you!
Yay, Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Isn't that great, Kay?
Yeah, it sure is, Gummy. Even though he had completely forgotten about her until just now. Ugh, what is with their chummy relationship? The real Yatagarasu is the murderer is convicted along the way. Yeah. The great thief, Yatagarasu. After all that time, the true identity of the thief sank back into the darkness. Burn Faraday, Callisto Yu, and Kay Faraday. The phantasmagorically changing identity of the great thief Yatagarasu. And the Yatagarasu's real goal. It would all come to light the day after I made that promise to Kay. There we go. Turnabout Reminiscence is over. All right. So next time it's going to be Turnabout Ablaze, the final case of the first game of investigations. So we're chugging through this. All right. Well, we will begin that one next time. See ya then.